up, everyone? Welcome back to another edition of the Apex, the podcast. Ladies and gentlemen, we are headed into the regional finals coming up in just 1 week. We also have an awesome interview with Panic from TSM, and then we've got the heart-to-heart. But we've got a lot to get to here. We have some drama. We've got some Apex. We've got all the things headed up into the regional final, getting you ready for all of the different formats and all the things that are going to be taking place and what you need to know heading into the regional final. And that should just about do the show. But before I do it, Jumba, your eyes are looking a little red here. You have a weed addiction going on, buddy? What's going on over here?
I don't
What's
know,
going
man.
on?
Can't kick it coaching too much on that.
Yeah, we had some drama this week, boys. We had some drama this week starring our boy Nasky, friend of the program. I'm pretty sure you interviewed him. I don't know if I was there for that interview, but we've had him on the show before. Little bit of a crazy situation with Nasky and Raven, but we also had Nasky on a crazy bounce back. And Jumba, I know you had kind of gone through the entire situation, but I just wanted to talk about that one really quick because I know normally we cover mostly NA in the beginning portion of the show, but this was too big of a story to not talk about here.
Let me pull it up here. I didn't realize we were starting right with this, even though I know you, funny enough, you told me that we were going to start right with this. So let me just get my whole breakdown because I wrote it out in point form and I'm going to have to read it right off my notes here so I don't mess up this story because it needs to be told in its glorious fashion, in my opinion, right? So let's go through this completely real quick. So the Nasky storyline. So Ronan had been playing with Nasky, not for the whole split, after the open. The vibes seemed good. They were in a qualification position. Everything seemed great, and Nasky was tweeting out a lot of positive things too. So it sounded like they were getting along well. They have a bad day on their second last day of Pro League, and they get 12th. That drops them into a chopping block position, 8th place. EMEA Pro qualification for regional, or not regional finals, for EWC is only 8th place. All of a sudden, Nasky gets dropped by MG Clutch. They can't work it out. It blows up the timeline. He's like, what the hell just happened? And honestly, people are freaking out too because it was 2 days before roster lock, right? There's not enough time for another team to pick them up because they've locked in their squads. And then, like, yeah, he's basically fucked. But what this also does is the way champs points now work is it's from Pro League, Open, the midseason playoffs, second split of Pro League. It all accumulates. And he didn't do great at the Open. Not getting, I don't know exactly how it works. I think him not being on a team at the end of the split means he wouldn't get points from split 1 Pro League. And then he's not going to go to EWC. So he'd only have split 2 Pro League. And that basically means that he's not going to get into the champs when we have it, whenever it's happening. And on top of all of that, I'm just trying to think of like what I was saying with the points. I didn't have that part here, unfortunately. Oh, yes. So like a team might not even pick him up for split 2 Pro League because he's not going to have a lot of points and it's going to hurt their chances of getting to champs after because each individual player carries the point threshold. It's not by the team anymore. Then on Wednesday, the morning of roster lock, 10K comprising of Kashera, Postkill, and G-Dolphin mutually decide.
G-Dolphin was a very new pickup to add for clarification.
Yes.
I don't think they actually ever. They did have one match day.
Yeah. Okay. I wasn't sure how many match days it was, so I didn't put that in my notes. But yes,
pickup.
It was very recent. It was very recent, and even them, they seemed like they were excited and good to go. But at the same time, they mutually decided that between G-Dolphin and Kashera, it wasn't going to work. They just butt heads too much on IGLing. They were at 18th, so they weren't even safe for qualifying for regionals, and they only had 2 Pro League days left. So to be very clear, G-Dolphin said he was okay with the situation. He didn't want to torch their chance of qualing, so he agreed to step down. He wasn't screwed over in this, and he said, go get Nasky. Mid-scrim, I think they played 2 games, and all of a sudden, Nasky jumps into 10K, and they say that they're going to go for a crazy attempt to get 10K to make it into regional finals and hopefully EWC. Saturday, second last day of PL, they're in 3rd place. They've won 2 games. In the final game, they may possibly not make it in, right? It's really tough. They're top 3, and it looks like they're going to have to play for 2nd. Instead, they huge clutch it up. They win. They get 3 wins, which gets them an extra point plus 1st place. They get 26 points. They're now, I think, 2 places behind Ronan, who that's their last day because they get 8th. And then on Sunday, they get 5th. Ronan doesn't play that day. They officially jump Ronan to be in a qualification position for EWC. They've now gone from 18th to 5th, where they're actually even now in regionals and feeling kind of comfortable about that. And Ronan's on the chopping block. They're in 10th place. We'll have to see what happens this week in the regional finals, but it is the craziest like vengeance story for the boys over at 10K, and especially Nasky.
Yeah, it was crazy. It was crazy to watch. Like, it was one of those situations, and I know, Don, you're locked into just about every single second of Apex that's ever been existed ever. When you're sitting there watching that, and you're saying like, holy shit, there's a chance. Not only do they jump, not only do they make regionals, but there's a chance they could just qualify for this whole damn thing. Like, what was going through your head?
Yeah, it's just crazy, right? You hear all these notes that he's talking about, the adding to one team, getting dropped by another, the whole org situation that went down. Like, there's just so many things that are stacked up against him, right? And that just seems to have been his story for these past, year and a half or so, year and a half or so. And to somehow find his way to Kashera and post skill, which I know it's not the greatest situation, but like, what a duo to stumble into. You know what I mean? Like, you're talking about guys that are very accomplished in the region and very accomplished in the whole global scale of Apex. And then to just somehow put it all together in 2 days, you go win a match day. Like, what in the hell is 2025 Apex bringing us, man? Like, it was such a cool thing to watch. And yeah, I was definitely tuned in the whole time. And then to see them back it up the next day and be in position where they are now, it's just, it's awesome, man. Like, it may not have been the greatest journey to get there, but we're here now. And I mean, they legitimately have a shot of being at midseason playoffs. It's awesome to see.
Yeah, it's just one of the wilder stories that we've seen in Apex so far happening over in EMEA. And Nasky, he's doing the damn thing. He is doing the damn thing. And I will say, too, when we went to LA, extremely entertaining player to watch. Like, just extremely entertaining. There's maybe some points where it was a little bit too much entertainment, but that's what we like. At the end of the day, those are the moments you remember. And crazy story coming out of EMEA. Boys, I say we move on down to NA, talk about our Americas region. Me and Donnie will cover more in the regional roundup when we go through all the 3 other regions as we get ready for EWC. Let's kick it off with Saturday. That was A versus C, and that was Team Liquid taking the day. They were first. Second place was TSM. Third was Falcons, and Flat right outside of the top 3 by just a few points. Boys, this was a wild day, and we're going to talk a little bit to Panic here in a little bit from Team TSM. But there was that one game that really stood out to me was that one zone, Jumba, and you had mentioned it before. I did not think TSM had any chance winning that game, and they somehow have the patience to pull it out. Just incredible plays, and it just shows the potential with this roster, because we've seen TSM have some really bad days leading up to this, but then it shows like, hey, if they lock in, things can be completely different, and they can make a name for themselves here.
Yeah, I mean, like, Panic didn't even play, I think, the first 2 games because his power went out. And then game 3, he joins in, they win. And he even says at the end, he's like, oh, finally when I hopped in here. And they were frying that game, too. They were fragging out, playing from Edge on Storm Point there. It's a pretty far zone for them, too, all the way from Elrod. I can't remember exactly where it ended. It was somewhere south, though, like on the southeast of the map, I believe. Anyways, but then, yeah, there's that specific zone. And the thing that impressed me the most is Panic as a young kid and the way he was calming and calling these zones. We talk about it a little bit in our interview when it comes up here. We had him on just before, but he basically says his experience with Orchid, they were such a hard zone team that he memorized all the zones, and he sees this neon square one, and there's not that many, to be fair. He even says it in the thing, but like, he knew exactly where to go and what building to play, and that it worked out for them. So really impressive showing from TSM that, starting off with a rocky day to get second, and that's huge for them. They're 6 overall right now.
Now, Dawn, from your perspective on this Saturday, there was a lot of different storylines you could talk about here, but one that stood out from you personally, looking at Saturday.
I mean, it's got to be Liquid, right? I mean, to be in the position where they were, they're basically on the cusp of not even qualifying to regional finals, potentially may not even being in Pro League with how far down they were. They had to at least get a minimum about a 7th or 8th place based on where the points cutoff ended up being to even just make the regional final. But then to go and actually clutch up and win the match day, I mean, just absolutely hats off to these guys because it's definitely been quite the struggle in recent times for them. Definitely haven't had a great pro league so far, but especially in the last couple games, clutching up in game 5 with the win, and then getting some important points in game 6 to kind of close out their day. It was just an incredible performance for them. I was really happy to see that because I definitely think a lot of people are big fans of Liquid and love to see Yanya go back with that roster, but they didn't really click right away. And you're wondering, oh, is there really anything left with this trio? Is this, potentially going to be it? Do they not really have what it takes anymore to get back to the top level? And then, like I said, they come out, they end up doing extremely well on this match day with the win. Nazul with 15 kills and Yanya with 13. I mean, just it was a great storyline to watch. Really good job on them to recover something and put themselves even in somewhat of a position to qualify. I think now they're within the top 16 right now. So there's still a lot to play for in regional finals, as I know we'll get to like how that's going to work later on. But it's just an incredible performance, an incredible story, and really, really happy for the boys over at Liquid.
Now,
I think everybody was rooting for Liquid.
Yeah,
because like to have Yanya come back and then like the rough start when that squad had like joined back together, to see them like showing like the level that they can play at but hadn't had the opportunity to showcase yet. It was really great to see.
And it's kind of worked out for all parties there. Kurev goes over to NIP, right? I'm not messing that up. Yeah,
Yeah,
NIP,
he's on NIP.
and
Yes.
like they have been doing so amazing, and now they're sitting in 4th overall in pro league. That like sometimes when you see like a guy who came in with Liquid and like kind of was trying to fill the big shoes there with Yanya. They were together for so long, and like it felt like it was kind of rocking for them. But now like he's moved on to teams in 4th. They've won their day and they're making a comeback. A lot of clutch ups and a lot of positive stories coming out this week.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. You bring up NIP, and it's weird because you say out loud, you're like, they're sitting 4th overall right now. And it's just such a weird thing because even before they were NIP, it just didn't feel like they were having like those days where you would consider them a team in the upper echelon of the Americas region. They kind of felt like those 12 to 17 range teams, right? Like, but here they are, and they bring in Karev, and like you said, it's working out for them. And they have really good days on this day. It wasn't like, the most flashy win or whatever it was. But another team that's very similar to them too, once again, is Rock. Rock continues to impress and perform once again. Both those teams, I think they were both 5th and 6th respectively on this match day. Yeah, they were 5th and 6th, NIP in 5th, Rock in 6th. But these two teams are what I think a lot of people would have expected to be that mid-tier range teams, but they've been performing out of their minds. So it's been really fun to watch. E, did you have anything else from this particular day other than Team Liquid that you wanted to talk about? I see Flat in 4th, and that point you made last week where on any given day, like these teams are good enough to be able to just perform and go from what you would consider maybe 15th and lower to sitting in a top 4.
Yeah, I mean, Flat is definitely making a strong run as well. Like they didn't. I don't believe they had the strongest start to their pro league split. But these last few days that they've been playing, they've been really bringing it together. And this is a team that has made, I believe, multiple lands in the past, and has been signed to a few different orgs. And so I think that they have a strong chance to make it to EWC. And if that's the case, then it's going to be fun to see them in that environment and see if they can really elevate their game as they get more and more experience as a team together.
Yeah, and I've just been really impressed by Qzier with them so far. Like he's done a really good job of coming into that roster, as Big Louie and Nano have been, kind of an established duo for a while. Qzier comes in, he's the young guy. A lot of people kind of talked about him as being one of those names that could probably, work his way up in the upper echelon of the top players of Apex at some point, just with how much talent he's kind of shown at a young age already. And for them to come out get 4th, I mean, they're right on the cusp of qualifying for midseason playoffs. And I don't think a lot of people would have thought this team would be in position to, be in this spot to where a lot of it is within their control. So it isn't going to necessarily take a, regional finals miracle for them to qualify. They are right there on the verge. And I think it's definitely a huge shout out to them. Like E said, didn't really get off to the greatest start during Pro League, but they've definitely found some form as of late. And it'll be very interesting to see if they can maybe make that one final leap and get into that top 16.
Now
Yeah.
I'm gonna. Well,
One
go
more
ahead,
thing
go ahead,
before
go
we
ahead,
move
G.
on from Flat. Like Qzier, he's been playing, and like that guy is nuts.
Yeah.
He is like, I forget what rank split it was, but there was one rank split where they last second put together a rank squad of him, Kimchi, and then I forget who their third was, and they beat everybody on the race to Pred. And that boy QZ is an incredibly talented player. And so he actually was with, like, he's a fairly new addition to the team in regards to like being picked back up, but he was with the team previously and then left Flat in order to go play with Designful and Enemy. They unfortunately did not have the best of runs, and then Q0 then goes back to Flat, and so definitely has taken them a little bit of time to get that team chemistry flowing again. But they definitely, as Donnie said, like they are more than capable of making it into EWC. Like I would say, dude, it is just crazy that it's top 16 teams.
So that's what I was gonna say. Well, like, you know, I always want to give people their flowers, and I don't want to seem like I'm discrediting them. And even Qzier, he's been thrown around a bunch. And you know, when he was with designing them, I don't think he was the problem on that team. Like, I think he filled his role well. So like, I don't want to discredit what you guys are saying, but we're talking about top 16 teams here, and they're on the cutting block. So as much as that is like impressive that they're out here, it's just it's a much easier land.
You gotta give them their props.
Sure, for sure.
There's a lot of people out here who wouldn't be making top 16, and there's a few of them in this call right here.
Yeah, I would not. I'm not saying I'm better. I'm not saying I'm better. I would never put myself above. I did have a TDM tournament where I played with Nano though. And we did kind of like drop. I think I dropped like 8 less kills than him. Just wanna. I'm just kidding. But anyways. But either way, I'm just saying top 16. You know, we're going to regional finals this weekend, and only 4 teams from that regional final are not going to make EWC. It's going to be one of the less intense things we see because, like, you know, if we're talking about other regions like EMEA, it's top 8. That's a lot more intense of trying to like make it into that squeezing point. I think that I saw Privacy had posted, and I can pull it up on the Twitter here really quickly, but Privacy posted that the cutoff should realistically be around, for NA, it should be around 71 to 74. That's what the cutoff should be. There is a 0.001 chance that it's an 84 cutoff. Yeah, that'd be fucking wild if somehow we got that. Yeah, but so
I'm
71 to 74, which means, you know, they would need roughly how many points do they have? Well, that actually is still, they're 58. That's actually still quite a jump if you know, to 74. So they'll still got their work cut out for them because, you know, there are 4 other teams, and not bad ones either, like Orchid, LG, CTE, who are trying to get in there. Call me a hater for throwing that out, but yeah, we're talking top 16 here.
Yeah. Okay, so anything else, boys, on Saturday before we move into Sunday? And then we'll move into regional final and kind of talking about what we need to expect for this one here. Anything else? All good? All right, let's move into Sunday real quick. Sunday, the winner was Ninjas in Pajamas. We just talked about them a second ago. They continue their dominance with another good performance. They're winning the day. 100 Thieves in second, AGG in third, and CTE in fourth. Now, as badly as I do want to talk about some of the teams at the top, I do think we need to talk about some of the teams at the bottom. And the one that sticks out to me the most is Virtus Pro. Now, this was a team that we were talking about heavily at the beginning portion of the season before the Open, and they have fallen off of a cliff. And it honestly pains me to see because I talked about them so much that I'm carrying that burden with me at all times. I think it's my fault.
Was that us?
It might have been us. I talked about them so much.
Gassed them up so hard and then got Zach on the next week. It could be, I've heard like some rumblings in the media that there has been disputes about lag. That might have been the thing that is causing. No. Yeah, I don't know. We're talking about lags. He brought up the lag again. No. Either way, yeah, I was afraid that that's us. I've been looking at that. I was like, damn,
because
Zach's not going to want to come on the pod ever again.
because at one point, I think right before the Open, they were literally in first place. They were in first place. Right now, they're currently sitting at 15th, and their last few point totals have been abysmal. They had a 2 point, a 1 point. They did have a 14 point, but then they had a 7 mixed in there. So it has not been good. It's actually been very difficult. And the worst part was, I think at that time they had like a day in hand, and it's still kind of gone this way. So I don't know what exactly is happening with VP. I haven't been able to sit down and get in there. But if this is the case, we are getting kind of like the full Zach Mazer experience where I could see them literally winning the regional final. Like that just seems like something that would happen. Just having just abysmal days, bouncing back, winning the entire damn thing and looking unbeatable. That's just something that happens with VP. Don, can you pinpoint what's going on with Virtus Pro?
I mean, a lot of just like when I've tuned in and seen, some of the issues that have come up, it just really seems like it's very much just not being on the same page when it comes to decision making, whether it's, where they want to push, in terms of taking a fight or where they want to go in terms of rotation. And there's also been some other times they just have taken a rotation, have ended up in a really, really poor spot. I know there was a Storm Point game, for example. They had tried to rotate through the ocean on the backside of Coastal to try to get into the backside of Echo HQ. And quite a few teams have already gotten into Coastal and kind of held them out and really slowed down their rotate. So I really think it's definitely been a multitude of things. But the biggest thing that I know when I've seen a Zach Mazer team struggle in the past has been a really big breakdown when it comes to their team fighting and their comms within their team fighting. And so I just think right now, like they just really need to get back to their basics of what got them here. And it's going to be really interesting to see if they can figure it out. Obviously, we've seen that they're very, very capable of doing that. But obviously, when you've had an 18th place and then a 19th place, what do you feel like then going into the most important match day of the split so far, right? So we'll be very interesting to see. That'll be someone you definitely keep an eye on. And one of those few teams, like we mentioned, maybe not as much drama at the top because obviously, there's gonna be so many teams qualified, but definitely those spots, 12, 13, 14, 15, really on the way down. It's going to be very interesting. And it's always got to remind people that the regional final winner is guaranteed to go to midseason playoffs. So if you're 17 through 20 in points, but you win, that then takes the points to top 15. So that's another thing that these teams have to keep an eye on is that it may not even be 16 in points. It could be 15 in points. Mm-hmm. So there's a lot of things these teams got to keep their eyes on. And Virtus Pro is definitely one of them since they're so far down the leaderboard.
Yeah, now another team that snuck in here was LG, Luminosity Gaming. They bounced back. I believe they got a 5th place on this day. And what sucks for them is at one point they were winning, I think with like 2 games remaining. I think they were in first place and they were doing really well and they just couldn't close it out. Those would have been vital points. I don't think it would have gotten them obviously where they wanted to be. A team like LG before the season had started, we're thinking that they're going to be one of the top, 6, 7 teams. And they just haven't had those performances that we've seen from them in the past, but they do squeak in there. They're able to get into that regional final, and they did seem to be having like a much better like it just seemed like their entire performance was a lot better moving forward. And this is a team that I would not be surprised it's one of those that you could see winning a regional final. Now that is a tall task for any team in this lobby, but Don, from your perspective on LG, once again, they kind of get into this spot where they have a chance here. What are you seeing from LG right now?
Yeah, I was definitely really looking into it because obviously you see the players that, whether it's the iteration with Sauce as the IGL and now Nocturnal as the IGL, like what really is that thing that could be holding them back right now? And when I was actually looking through the stats in the entire Pro League, one thing I actually found really interesting is that if I get this pulled up correctly, they're actually, if you obviously discount complexity since they didn't play the full split, they're in the bottom 5 in total kills. And as much as we talk about, zone teams, picking up points, getting, first, second, third's always great. If you're not getting kills along with it, you definitely can fall down the leaderboard very quickly. And I think that's been the problem with LG in a lot of their match days is like, yes, they'll get some of these top placements, but they don't have the kills to back it up. Because even with this day, they get 49 points overall, but only 14 of those come from kills. And that is a very tough play style to always bank on, because as good as Nocturnal obviously is with calling zones and stuff like that, he's done it long enough. Those ring 4s, those 5s, the final circle are so unpredictable because you can't get that knowledge normally, right? So you know, at best you're getting ring 3, but with a lot of those zone teams, they're only able to get ring 2 because they're trying to get into the zone before you even see ring 3. So it's a play style that you're definitely banking on some luck and RNG at times, but we'll hopefully see them continue to make good zone calls, but then maybe hopefully pick up a few more kills along the way to maybe get them up into that top 3 when it comes to the overall placings of the day.
I'm gonna sound like such a hater this podcast and like, you know, sweeping everyone in front of their feet. But even this match day, from what I understood, I didn't watch the full match day. I was rebuilding my sister's backyard. But then I came home and I got to catch the 6th game, and I tune in to Jayhawk's broadcast, and he goes, "And LG dies." And I said something like, "Well, what's going on?" And Jay just goes, "So I am going to throw Jay under the bus here." He says they got like 4 zones and they were like, you know, first place winning every game. And then this game they didn't get zone, they died first. So, and that's what dropped it down to 6. I just put Jay on the spot. I don't even know if he said that now. Maybe that was Wig actually. Either way, all I know is that's what I heard had happened throughout the day. I didn't bother review the rest of it, but I will say that if that's how they're like, if it was a good day, obviously great, gets them into regional finals. Now they have one chance to, you know, really make it happen, and they got to find a way that like they can't just rely on the RNG, you know, of their POI and everything like that. They're not going to have. Is their pro league? How does the seeding work? Does it go by their pro league placement for regional finals? Do we know, or is it?
I'm not sure how it works, but you just a hater, bro.
Yeah, I know. Like I said, I'm gonna sound like a hater. They just can't rely on their RNG. They're not gonna have the best seeding if it does go by their region or their pro league placements. But like we also did said, they're, you know, at least in that bottom half, they're probably the most experienced team there. So if there's any team I think will find a way to clutch it up and get in to, you know, the EWC qualification, I think it's gonna be LG.
Once again, another situation where I talked up the shit out of LG before the season had started. And yeah, it's not looking good for me, which is going to make this next thing even more painful if this doesn't come to be. I'm going to talk about Sentinels real quick, boys, because I watched every single Sentinels game. I am part of Sen City. They've dropped a hockey jersey. I didn't even know about it until after I was already part of Sen City. But I'm a Sentinels guy. I think they might be my team moving into this next land, which they will definitely qualify for. It's definitely going to happen 100%. Sentinels, though, did disappoint me a little bit on this day. Now, I watched them last week, and I put in a little clip of their gameplay where they were having a good time. They were having fun. They did the same thing this week, and they were looking great after Game 4. They were, I think, second or first after Game 4. And then they had 2 of the most abysmal losses I have ever seen in my life. Just one getting stuck in a trident in the middle of the ocean. Like Nick Mark style back I don't know if you guys remember when he was just out there in the middle of Storm Point, just all alone, just out there with the trident. And then they had another one where it was just like a terrible fight, just not great. And then final 2, and you could tell that Riley was pissed. He was not happy with that whatsoever. But before that, it was great. And I just got to say, Loader is insane. He is insane.
Lord of the Rings. Please don't tell me you thought it was Loader.
They all call him Loader.
I was gonna say you can say it, but like you knew that like it's Lord of the Rings though, right?
Yeah, I know it's Lord of the Rings.
I just wanted to make sure.
No, they all called him Loader in game because I was gonna call him Lord of the Rings, and then they kept calling him Loader. So I was like, all right. But yeah, no, he is.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Insane.
You just have a tendency of picking teams and then not knowing who's on them. So
no, ask me.
Christ,
ask me E36.
Riddle. Old Riddle.
We're wasting too much time. I'm gonna get back to the show. But yeah, so Sentinels is great. I really liked. I really liked the way that they were fighting. They had a crazy 14 kill second place game where they purposely went for second. I don't think they could have even won that game even if they wanted to.
They were balling.
Yeah,
dude. Lauder on Fuse was holding it down.
Dude, he wasn't
that one
missing.
Building, nah, dude, he was shitting. Like it was fire to watch. Like team, they play so well together. It is so much fun to watch.
And it makes you wonder, like, if more teams would just stick around a little bit longer than they typically do. Like, I know it's not going to work in every situation. There's going to be some circumstances where it just doesn't work. But it just makes you wonder if teams would just work through some of this stuff sometimes. I mean, obviously, there are some people who just can't be on the same team. But, like, you just wonder like where some of these teams would go with some of the talent that they've had. So I mean, Luminosity stands out. Like that was one where, you know, Saucer was there for a long time and they move on, and I'm not saying it's Knox's fault whatsoever, but it's like, what happens if they just, you know what, we're struggling right now, but we'll get through it. You never really know. But all I know is Sentinels is awesome. Sen City. I'm a part of the Sentinel Army. Might order that hockey jersey. Might wear it.
If
And
more teams
jinx
drop
their whole
hockey
team.
jerseys, I would go broke.
Yeah.
I'd go broke. I'd buy them all.
And it's
guess
not
what?
like-
I only own like one actual hockey jersey. Like I would just go broke buying other ones.
Mm-hmm.
This is actually just detrimental to the Sentinel stand. Like, if you're a Sentinel fan,
You
have to
hate
be
this.
absolutely just pissed
Because
that
we're
Wyatt
saying this.
is talking
Yeah.
about
You
them
hate
and
this.
is gassing them up, because the
You
track
hate
record
this.
just keeps on getting worse and
Yeah.
worse.
They don't even want
and
to hear about
worse.
my
And now
jersey track
Sentinels
record.
is in the crosshairs, and I
Yeah.
like this team, man.
Listen, this is the bounce back. Okay, this is the bounce back. The only thing that would throw this off is if they absolutely shit the bed, which I don't think is going to happen with their ability. They're awesome, but I just wanted to highlight Sentinels once again. I might throw in a clip of that 14 kill second place, because that end game, hopefully, if it's on ALGS VODs, I don't know if Loader holds on to his VODs afterwards, but that's the stream I was watching, and if I can get a clip of that where he doesn't miss like ever, he just did not miss a bullet, and then even going into the next game, I believe they're on Storm Point for that one, and they get a really good zone. They get there super early, and I think Falcons tries to come over. No, it was NRG. NRG tries to come over and fight them, and it was just beams all the way. It was insane. It was absolutely insane. But shout out Sentinels. Boys, did you guys have any other teams you guys wanted to highlight before we talk regional final?
Last thing, did we mention? I'm not going to talk too deep. I just want to mention dropped with all gamers once again. Did get fifth. Ms. Man always gets fifth or sixth. The fifth, sixth, sometimes fourth,
Yeah.
and the
yeah.
odd time seventh, maybe
Sometimes
but always fifth. or
on a
sixth.
great day, third.
Yeah.
You
But
know,
for the most part, they're currently sitting going into the regional finals. Technically, Pro League being done technically
mhm.
at fifth place, and that's just
They're
an all-time
currently at
dropped
fifth.
classic. That's, just an all-time
That's
dropped
what we
classic.
love to see. You can
Yeah.
make a good career out of always being in fifth,
Always being fifth.
and that's what
yeah.
dropped has done. You guys have any other teams, Don?
Yeah, I'll just say real quick too. I think it was definitely a big day for 100 Thieves. Obviously, we knew they were already qualified for midseason playoffs, so it didn't really matter technically where they placed, just in terms of like the Pro League, regional finals, whatever. But we had seen them drop down to like 13th, 14th, 15th overall in the Pro League standings, and people are talking about, is Verls dropped off? What is this team going to be able to figure it out? Every storyline that people want to throw at when new teams struggle. And they come out and find a way to get a second place in the day. They started off hot even in the first game, getting a second place with 7 kills. Did a really nice job getting second place in that game because CT definitely had the better spot. They definitely swung around the edge of the zone and picked up a lot of big kills and took up a lot of really good spots. And that's kind of the team I think we expect to see moving forward. But now again, it's just, can they be that consistent team that we expect them to be? So that'll definitely be a team that I'm interested in when we get to regionals. But I think it was definitely a big day for their mental, just to say, hey, like, we are a team that can be top 3. We just need to really be on top of our shit. And this weekend, they definitely were. So big shout out to them for the weekend.
Hell yeah. Okay, boys, you want to talk regional final? Let's pull up the regional final standings as it sits right now. We got the usual suspects at the top. You got the Falcons and NRG tied for first place. Shopify right behind them. NIP, AGG, TSM, 100 Thieves, Sentinels, Twisted Minds, KOI, Rock, and Furia in the green zone. That is the top 12. But once again, there needs to be the 16 going into EWC. And right outside of that, we've got Fusion, Team Liquid, VP, Villainous is sitting in that final spot. And just a few points behind is Flat. Now, the top 20 teams are going to be playing in this regional final, and that could change things up and shake things up really crazily if a team like LG ends up winning the entire day. But lots to go into this. I want to throw it on down to Jumba first to kind of go through the importance of this regional final and exactly how it works for somebody who's maybe newer or doesn't fully understand what is about to take place.
So it's match point Like regional finals are always match point. Um, the way it works is if someone outside the top 16 wins, then it will be that person automatically goes to finals and then the next 15 after. I think that the way that this will work, interestingly enough, is no matter like pretty much if 17th, 18th, 19th, or 20 win, they'll also get the 25 points for winning the day. And then so that will instantly put them into top 16. But nonetheless, just for like the simplicity of it, yeah, it's basically top 16 or winner plus top 15 after that. If it's someone from outside there. And that will be your people who go to EWC. That's how it works after. Like I said, match point legend band obviously is still in effect, which means we have the chance. We didn't get to see at the Open. We do have the chance of seeing the longest legend band system we up to the point. Like all we've seen is 6 games because Falcons ended the Open in 6 games. So we can see some crazy comps come out. Again, in the interview, you're going to hear us talk with Panic, and they're doing match point scrims this week. So if you guys want to start to get a little bit of taste of that, tune into scrims this week as they lead up to it. Every single day's match point, and they're doing at the very least 8 games, I believe Donnie said. So you will always see some new comps get thrown in there. And he was playing Valkyrie. He's like, they have never had to play Valkyrie before. It was new to him. And it was just something he didn't have to expect because his characters, as the aggressive characters, consistently get banned. So yeah, that's a very long way of explaining match point and for the regional final, and then that's who qualifies for EWC.
With the added in wrinkle that for the first time, really, we're going to be, hopefully, we never know, but hopefully we're going to be able to see some more legend bands that go beyond the typical set that
Give
we have
me
normally seen.
Caustic Vantage. We'll never get that because the only way Caustic goes is if every character with a console gets banned. And with now the perk system, you have too many characters that can scan console.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
I did want to make a quick caveat to what you said, Jumba, is that with the points, they actually have elevated points in regional finals. So first place actually gets 35 towards their Pro League standing, which obviously if you win, you're guaranteed anyway.
Holy.
But like second place is now 29 points. Third place is 25 because what you get in regional finals adds on to what you've already got during Pro League in terms of like the overall Pro League standing. So all these points, again, fourth place is 22 versus what I think it's normally like 18 or 16. So these are all very important details.
Why did they change that?
I have no clue. I think they're just trying to make it more entertaining. But then, of course, we get 16 of the 20 teams.
More value.
16 of the 20 teams are going through to the NA anyway. But it's going to be very interesting. We'll obviously talk about it more in the regional recap with the other regions where there's less spots. But even for NA, like a team that's, in 14th, 15th, 16th, if they can manage to pull off a 5th place, that's as valuable as like a 3rd place would normally be. So it is definitely going to be very interesting to see if those extra points for certain spots come into play because of how tight knit kind of that 13th, 14th, all the way down to 20th is. So it'd be very interesting to see what happens.
For other region especially, I think that will just swing it because if like one of these teams are in 8th but like had a decent split but not great, could get jumped by a team that like is in 15th. I think the value of that is that in the past what would happen so often when you only had 8 spots, and NA even used to have like 12 still, but it would be that there were some teams at the bottom who just got in and the only way they would go to LAN is if they won the regional final. They had to win, and it was really difficult, but there were some teams who got close, never did it, but got close. And I guess that now maybe the effect is that they're trying to give some of those teams the chance to get in with points and not have their only last option to get in with is actually winning the match point.
Because if they have a couple bad games, they're just out there to grief.
Exactly, yeah. Whereas now, like, there's always like a dog in the fight.
So, do we got some predictions, boys? We haven't done a prediction in a long time. I say we just predict a winner. Who you got winning?
I'm going to go with Falcons simply because I know that Zero is not going to be satisfied unless they win the Pro League standings. And I know that he is probably way more pissed than anybody else would be that they're technically losing the tiebreaker right now to NRG.
Yeah.
And he wants to see himself up as number 1.
Because didn't Walty tell us last week that he has not lost like a Pro League in like How long ago was it?
Yeah, I
Something
think
like that? Like
years.
like it's been like yeah,
Has
like,
it
at
been
least all
ever?
last year.
Maybe that one dark, like that one Dark
Years.
Zero when they first came to NA. That's probably
They're
it.
like 13th. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like since then, I mean, I could pull up his
I
results
think
real
he might
quick.
be on like a 4P or something like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, so last split 2, year 3. Yep, one before that. Okay, and then wait, where's the one before that? Oh, it was just all last year. He's only on 2.
Only on
Right?
the 2P?
I'm
Just
trying to
slacking.
I can't find the one ALGS
Come on, man.
championship. Gotta go before
Fucking
that.
good here.
Second, bro
Oh,
got
this guy's supposed to be good or
second.
something.
Wow, he's so bad. He got
Wow, that's
second in
terrible.
split 2, lost to X set. That's right.
Mm,
In
Honestly.
year 3, and then before that he got 13th. Honestly,
Tough look.
washed.
washed.
Kind of bad, low key. Kind of bad, low key.
5
No,
LAN wins, but not only 2 Pro League and NA
come on,
wins.
man. Win more pro leagues. Like those are the real trophies. I'm gonna pick VP because, like I said earlier, this just feels like a spot where
Oh my
they've
God.
been so bad
No.
for such a
Everyone
long
put your
time,
money
and
on
then they're just gonna
VP
win it.
Missing land.
They're just gonna win it.
I
What?
mean,
Why is he not giving me that look? Why
No,
is-
Enoch,
dude,
what is that
I
look?
was-
You just
I
looked
was
like
hitting
a
that look because I was going from tabs on my thing and I accidentally pressed the X on this Riverside one.
Oh no!
And then it gave me like the are you sure you want to leave or cancel? And I was like, oh fuck.
oh no!
I thought you were
I-
petrified.
Yeah, I thought
I
you were
thought
gonna
you're
like
petrified
reach
with
into
it.
the screen
You're like,
and
I'm
choke
glad
me
that
out.
It works
Yeah,
out
'cause
well with the thing, but yeah, no, I
kinda
was like,
worked,
oh
too.
shoot. I was like, it's just 41 minutes of my life that I do not want to repeat.
Yeah. No, I'm gonna go VP. I'm gonna go VP. This just
VP.
feels like that spot. It feels like that spot for me. Who you got, Jumba?
Bro, you're just such a hater, bro. You're
What?
just preying on Zach's downfall.
I
putting him
like
in the
Zach.
team.
I was the biggest
That's
advocate
the most
for
anti-Zach
VP.
move you could have done, bro.
Okay, actually, all right. I'll change it then. I'll say VP gets dead
You
last.
said what you said. You
No,
said
no.
what you said.
Don't
You
do
can't-
that. Yeah, you can't
You
do
can't
this. You do
just
this
change
all
it.
the
What
time.
are you, fan?
I'm trying to
this all the
switch it
time.
back.
You can't do.
You can't
like,
do that. I mean,
He
it is
bet
done.
on my
It is
hockey
it
team
is
once.
written.
He bet on my hockey team once. I said, "Why would you do that?" And he goes, "Okay, I'll bet on the other team." I said, "Don't fucking bet. Just cash out your bet and lose 50 cents here."
But
And he
then
did
we
that
ended
for
up
me.
winning that bet.
No, we didn't, and you fucking cursed my team. So let's just go to my. I kind of want to go with the Falcons
lose
pick,
that
but to
bet?
mix it up, I'm gonna say Shopify. I'll go with Shopify takes the win and jumps.
That's so funny. Last week I literally said Shopify's winning champs, and I just didn't.
You know what the
pick
thing
them.
is?
I
was
wasn't
sitting
going to
here-
bring that up. They got like 17th in their pre-pro day.
I'm
Yeah.
honestly just sitting here, and I really am debating. I was debating between Shopify and Energy because I also do think this first split with like Timmy IGLing and everyone always kind of saying this guy can't IGL, and he's currently winning the tiebreaker for first to go in and win and then come out first overall. Is this the bet for who takes first or who wins the regional final?
I was just saying who wins the
Which
regional
honestly, if any of those 3 teams win, they're taking first. I
Yeah.
think I'm switching mine to Energy because I think it'd be a cool story.
final. Who's the only one who hasn't said one? Dawn.
It'd be me.
There's
I
4
was-
people in this
Yeah.
podcast.
I was sitting to think about it. If I like really had to
Add it to
like,
my tab.
all right. If I really had to like pick, if I was like betting on somebody, I would say Falcons. But I think I'm gonna actually go with go with somebody else. I'm actually gonna go with Twists and Minds because I think on the right day we've seen them in qualifier lobbies before be able to win on a match point type final, and I think that they've definitely on the right day have played extremely well and have put themselves in those top couple spots. So I think if they get the match point early, they get into the 50-point threshold. I think they are a team that can close it out because they have won a decent amount of games during Pro League so far.
Do
So
we
I-
know who has won today?
Say
Sorry to
again?
interrupt you. Oh, NIP won today, and Twisted Minds got third, so not a bad shout from you, Donnie.
Yeah. So, you're talking about scrims today. Sorry,
Yeah,
that's
sorry.
okay. No, you're
My
good. But yeah, I just think they have the right tools and the right players to close out a match point type format. So that's definitely a team that if I wasn't going to pick Falcons, in my opinion, I'm going to go with Twisted Minds.
Okay, final prediction. Or go ahead, Jumba.
I was gonna say the interesting thing here is though that we got to realize, especially with NA match points, is not very many players have there's not much variety. Phony has won a regional final. Oh my god, I'm gonna really try to go off memory here. Dark Zero won a regional final. TSM won the offline regional final that we couldn't see.
What a sick day that was.
So like already though, like that is 3 LAN winners, right? Like there was like a big scrims friggin' like oversight match point final once. It was like for 10K. And again, that was Phony, SSG, and Zainu who won a LAN after. I don't know. I do have chat up. Someone probably else remembers the other ones for me, but there's not many. There's not a lot of variety in players winning match point finals. So as much as we're saying this, I think it'd be cool to have someone new. I just don't know if I expect it. It might be one of those same dogs that win it all the time. Like no one said 100 Thieves. Now that I think about it, none of us predicted 100 Thieves.
Nah, VP.
Okay.
Okay, boys. Last prediction, final prediction. Does AGG get 5th or 6th? I'm gonna go out on a limb. I'm gonna say 6th.
I'm feeling 5th. They've been playing. They've been playing pretty good.
I'm feeling 5th. Are we talking 5th overall or 5th in the final?
So this one,
Final. Yeah.
yeah, we want to
I
do
thought
just
we're-
final.
I was
'Cause
thinking overall. I'm thinking 5th overall.
If we do final, I'm gonna say 6th. If we do overall, I'm gonna say 5th.
Let's do
I don't even know if
both.
that mathematically I have no idea. I'm just saying I have no idea if that math
We're
works.
just
but-
saying
doesn't.
shit at
It
this
doesn't
point.
at
no,
all.
I'm not sure. It might, like, especially because Don, he said there's elevated points now, so that
Just
might.
Yeah.
straight
I-
out
it
of
might.
White's ass. is where that came
Pulled
from.
that out. I just pulled that out. We love to see it. Add it to my tab. Ladies and gents, we're going to send it on down to Panic Apex. What an interview it was. Dude's funny. That guy's just funny. It's a great time with Panic.
Wait till you hear him sing.
Yeah. We're going to have him singing in there. Also, lots of insight into what was going on with the move.
The accusations.
The accusations, all the good stuff you want to hear from Panic. All right, ladies and gents, let's hit a quick little break and send it on down to TSM Panic. All right, ladies and gents, we've got the man who's up next. They're saying he is up next. We have a very special guest on for the first time ever on the Apex podcast. We've got Panic on the show. Panic,
Yes,
how
sir.
are you doing, my man?
I'm doing great. I don't think I've ever been on a podcast before, but so this is gonna be an experience.
Yeah, it's pretty self-explanatory. We're going to ask you questions about you, and then you just rifle it all off. Jumbo, you're muted, I think.
To put
Okay,
it
I'm just
shortly,
making sure.
You've been practicing for this every rank session you've ever done
Mm.
because all you do is talk, and so you're
Mhm.
gonna be a natural. Trust.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I don't talk that. Okay, never mind.
You're allowed to talk here though. This is a podcast.
You're allowed to talk
like-
here. You can yap. Feel free to yap. Feel free to yap. But I do want to go back to what I alluded to at the beginning, man. It's interesting because there's been a lot of players who've come through the scene. There's been a lot of great teams who've come through the scene, lots of big names, and it does feel like everybody's focused in on Panic right now. Panic is the hot new thing. You're on the rise. You've shown and proven yourself in different areas. How does it feel to be what everybody talks about, like on the broadcast? Like this is the next guy. Like this guy's the real deal. He's legit. How does that feel for you?
I mean, it feels pretty unreal because like I never like I dreamed like when I first started playing this game, like it's like where I'd be. But like I saw like on like the open land, like after the first day, Shubi like shouted me out saying that like I'm next up, like, and I mean I never thought I'd be here. Like obviously like I wanted it without a doubt, but like trying to like make it come true just didn't seem like a possibility. But I, mean, I guess it is.
From
I mean-
layer to here.
Bro. That I had to rebrand. That was such a bad name.
Wait. Was that a name at one time? Poo Layer? That's
Yeah.
a ball. I gotta say, that is a baller name. If nobody else loved it,
Yeah.
I would have loved it. That's a
Bro.
great name.
I
I'm
think I was
surprised-
like 8 or 9 when I made it.
Uh-huh. Yeah. That
And you
makes
didn't
sense.
get banned with that name. Wyatt got banned for ballistics ball bag.
Yeah, that's true. I got
Yeah, you
banned
got a
for that.
72-hour ban for that one.
Mhm.
Not
Yeah.
the 72.
Yeah, I got the 72-hour ban for ballistics ball bag. It could have been anything. I could have been talking about his golf bag. You know, we could have been talking about anything.
It's true.
Now, you said you never thought you'd be here. And I guess the one thing that is interesting about all of it is that there was a time where you've had some obstacles, man. You had your own set of obstacles. And actually, you've been on the pod for the first time in person, but we have talked about you from a long time ago. In fact, I brought you up because I found a Twitter account, Panic Apex, that was just tweeting relentlessly, and they were the funniest tweets in the world, and everybody was accusing this man of cheating. I had no idea if you were or weren't at the time. I was just like, this guy is hilarious on Twitter. So you've actually been on this show back in the early days without actually being on the show. Now, that was an obstacle for you at the time, trying to prove to yourself that you were not cheating, or prove to everybody else that you
Prove to
weren't
everyone.
cheating. Prove to everybody
He
that
was
you were
the
not
sole
cheating.
creator of his own problems.
Yeah.
Let's not.
Yeah.
Wait,
let's make that very clear.
Okay. I mean,
Let's get to that.
that was my fault. Like I baited with the intention that it's gonna be a bait. I just didn't expect it to like go that far.
Uh-huh.
Cause like I helped Urice and them qual for Pro League, and then I put out an LFT that night. And then I think a day went by, and then that next morning, like my brother's waking me up, and he's like, "Check Twitter real quick." I'm like, "What's this about?" And he said they're accusing you of cheating. I'm like, I like kind of laughed, cause like, I mean, that's what I was aiming for, but like not like that. And then I check, I had like Alb and Scurry, they were LF1 at the time, and Alb DM'd me, it hit me up to, team or whatever, trial. And then, like, obviously that, like, instantly fell through. Like,
Wow.
I had, like, 3 or 4 Pro League offers at the time that fell through because of that.
Just because of that
post.
situation.
Yeah.
Damn. Like a whole year earlier that like you could have been competing. I want to get this into this later then. So let's get into it now. So after a year of that happening, I know I think you were still competing in CC and everything like that. Finally, Hambino and Rambo this year though give you a chance to compete, get back in a pro league and actually prove yourself that you're legit, you're a good player, and that you're not cheating, you're just good. Like how did it feel
Yeah.
finally getting that opportunity with them?
I mean, from like when I first got accused, I didn't think I'd like I wanted to quit immediately. But then like I hate seeing other people like go against me and then be right. So like I had to like go against it and like keep playing and like prove that I was real and like everything, and like getting that opportunity. Like, I mean, it was just amazing because I streamed like before like top 5 like in like top 5 pred, like consistently streamed to like just prove that I was real. And I mean, and then one day I played with Rambo, and I'm assuming he like vouched to Hambino because like they were LF1. He vouched him that I was like good, and then like I think they were either gonna pick up me or Cersei at the time, and then Rambo wanted me, and I mean, kind of just
The
went
rest
from
is
there.
history. Yeah.
Yeah.
The rest is history. Now, you do mention at one point that there was like a dark time during that whole accusation thing. Cause I do remember at one point you had tweeted something along the lines of like, yeah, I'm deactivating, or yeah, I'm done. I don't remember exactly what the tweet said, but it was like, yeah, I'm done. And so I got to imagine at that time for you, you're like, damn, I was just messing around. It turned into this whole situation. Now it just seems like everything's falling apart. Was there actually like a time there? Like how long was it before you're like, you know what? I can't do this. I got to get back into the arena and keep playing.
I'm pretty sure I took like a 2-month break or something like that, with at the beginning of the break intending to like just stop playing fully. Like I would play like once a week for like maybe like 3 hours or something, like nothing crazy. But I mean, I just didn't. Like I
couldn't do it.
I didn't have the passion. Like everything was like taken away. I was just like,
It was that one specific clip, where it's like Siphon or Clima. I don't
That's
remember.
in
I just know it's one of the
it's in
Siphon. Yeah.
Siphon.
Yeah, and like you're doing your thing where you like to snap at a wall, but this time you did it, and
And it
when you
just-
have
it was-
when
too
the
good.
character
Lineup.
scans are there, yeah, when you can see through the walls with the observer feed, like you snap to a person, unfortunately.
Mhm.
Which it's kind of funny because that stuff happens so often in other games like Counter-Strike, but I think because the maps are smaller, it's a tack shooter, like you can also understand angles of where people are going. Sometimes like, guys can get away with like it being a coincidence. Where here, while it was a coincidence, it just was a lot more sus to people. That one
Yeah.
specific clip.
Nah, it was way too good of a bait.
Oh, yeah.
Because I didn't rank with you for like the longest time. I was just like,
Mhm.
I'm not doing that. That kid's he's probably cheating. And I
Yeah.
will say that's because I also like when I was getting shit on by Poo-Layer, I was like, this guy has got to be cheating. I was like, this
Poo-Layer, bro.
Pathfinder, like, there's no way that this kid is real.
Yeah.
And I didn't like. I just thought it was just some random. Because I mean, at the time, you were just some random. And then like then there's the whole thing that pops up. And then it was just I remember vividly a conversation that I had with Morbid, and he's like, "Yeah, dude, like you should play with Panic. Like he hasn't gotten banned yet."
Yeah.
And so you definitely I'm really glad that you stuck with it, because with you doing that and going as long as you did without anybody, like without getting banned at all, it almost got to the point where like nobody could keep on saying you were cheating with how like long you just kept on not getting banned. So either you were just like the GOAT spoofer and you just like hideouts just can't touch your shit.
No, I'm not
or
crabby.
You're just or you're just next up. And
Yeah.
that appears to be like what we're dealing
Well,
with now.
even at the Open, I've talked about this on previous pods, but like, you know, I was in a group and there was some dev anti-cheat guys there who were basically saying they went through, I think, 400 plus different devices, scanned them all. I hope I don't get in trouble for saying this. I know that they found some people who were attempting to cheat with macros installed and things like that, and they wiped that shit and took care of that stuff. And you made it through. You made it through. So
Let's
like, you were
go.
cleared if you went to the Open.
Yeah.
You were clear.
Poo-Layer.
But
We're good.
I kind of wanted to even like throw back and find out a little bit more about like your start in Apex. Obviously, like you're one of the younger players in the league right now. I think the second youngest. So, you know, even for when Apex started, you're pretty young. Like when did you start playing, and what got you into competing in general?
I started playing season it was around season 7. Like I saw my brothers, like they played on console, and then like we got a PC that like all 3 of us shared, and then like we were just like basically like take turns playing. And I played on M&K from season 7 to season 15, and I was pred on M&K, and then I switched to roller, not because I was bad. It was because my frames, like they would go to that down to like 60 or like 70, bro. It was bad, and it just felt more smooth on roller than like anything. So that's like the biggest reason that I switched.
Switched
So
to roller.
when you had started, I got to assume if you're able to make it to pred on M&K, switch to controller, be as good as you are, you're sharing a PC with your brothers, you had to have dominated them in like so many games. Like there has to have been some epic arguments going on between the brothers in that type of environment. What age and what time did you realize you were just a lot better than a lot of the people you played with?
Bro, like we had like this flat screen TV upstairs. We played COD split screen, like 1v1, you know, the screen peak and everything. Like, bro.
So you are a cheater.
This guy immediately back to it.
But you were just dominating people from like the time you've been playing games, just really good naturally.
I feel like I played, so the main games I played was COD, and then I played Overwatch, and then Apex. Like those are like the main 3 that I've like played in my life. I've never touched a Halo game.
Mhm.
I don't know,
Mhm.
but I mean, it took like when I first played Overwatch, it took some time, but like eventually, like I wasn't like instantly good at it,
Mhm.
like other games. Like I had to like adapt seriously hard. But then for Apex, I mean, when I picked up a roller, it was pretty easy because like it was 0.4 at the time. So I mean, it's
It's
pretty
just
easy from
natural.
there.
Just
Yeah.
exposing all roller players out here, except for the bad ones like me and Wyatt.
Yeah.
Are your brothers older than you though? Like same thing. Like was it just that,
Yeah.
like your older brothers? Like what do they think about now that like you're even like a pro competing, going to lands, traveling, and that they probably couldn't hold up to you, like you being the younger one of them?
Yeah, I mean, my brother, he plays like CC. His name's Delroy, and
Oh, cool. Yeah, of course.
yeah, and I mean, he qualified to LAN,
Yeah.
but he didn't play. Like he didn't want to go. Like I don't know why. I couldn't get an answer, but he just didn't want to go. And I mean, it's pretty nice being the youngest, but like the best, you know?
Yeah, I gotta assume
Apex
that'd be
wise.
great. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think once again we get back to that entire accusation time, all that stuff goes down. You finally get this opportunity with Orchid, and then when you guys make it to that land, you really showed everybody what you were and what you were really about. Plenty of accolades go from that tournament, but when you actually got there on that stage, I assume that that's one of the first times you've ever had one of those opportunities to kind of just showcase your skill, like in person with the
Mm-hmm.
squad and everything like that. What was that experience like for you?
Bro, I like when I got into pro league, I was like, bro, I want to make one. Like, I want to go to like lands. Like my dream is to like do what I love, obviously, and like you just have fun doing it and make money, obviously. So
Mhm.
being there, it was not what I expected, to be honest. It was a lot better than like what I thought. Like the side stages, they were like I like the side stages more than the main stage. I think
Really?
a lot of people did, yeah. Because on the
Oh,
main
okay.
stage, they had like the big headphones that like clamp onto your head,
They're
and
so
like
uncomfortable. They're
they're
so
so
uncomfortable.
uncomfortable. They play white noise, and
Yeah.
you have to use earbuds under them for the audio. Bro, it was so uncomfortable on the main stage. Like the first time we were on main stage, I think it was like winners round 2, and I think we got bottom 10 that one. And so like we had to go through all the elim brackets and everything, but that audio, I swear, like I could have played without headphones and it would have been the same.
Mhm.
Like
It's disorienting too, right? Like the noise canceling is so strong. I remember having it on and being like, "Oh, this is like really weird." And when you take it off and the sound comes back, it's like, yeah, it messes with your head a little bit. I can't
it's so
imagine
refreshing to take them off, bro. I would
Yeah.
take them off. Like you can't take them off until the game's over.
Hmm.
Like you have to wait until the game's over, then you can like take them off for like the 2-minute break or whatever. But bro, it was like the cold wave my ears felt after like taking them off for a second, bro. It felt so good.
The side stage is pretty interesting. You like them, especially because your first experience. Not many pros have ever had something like that. I guess they had like old B stages in like those first early days with like the champs year 3, right? But still, like it was nothing like the pit, right? So it's kind of cool that like a
Mhm.
lot of pros who are used to like the main stages, they did not want to get near the pit. But you're saying you loved it. Was it like the atmosphere of having the other players close by, or was it just the comfort of like the headphones and having your own gear instead?
I think using my own stuff was
Mhm.
like just like more comforting, made me feel like, more at home. Like it just felt right. And like one of the stages, I think it was like Elim round 5, like right before finals. Elim, like Cersei and them, they were right in front of us and they were like in our lobby. So like one game we like fought them and I like look over and I see Cersei just so mad. And then and then another game, like they got first, we got second, and then me and Cersei, we look back over, we dap each other up over, and it's just like I just like being over there. I don't know, you can't do that on the main stage.
Mhm.
Yeah, I wish that's some more of the content we got to see from the pit because I think that's actually was kind of cool. Like either the trash talk or like even when you guys are like you said, pretty hyped up for each other, for a second, things like that. I don't know, boys. You got something else?
Yeah, I think when we had that entire situation go down with the Open, obviously you guys miss out just barely. It's like right on the edge that you guys barely miss out. What was that like? Because I know you guys fought your ass off, and we were actually rooting hard for Team Orchid just because we had just had Rambo on the show, and it's always
Yeah,
a great
he,
time to talk to Rambo. He's just one of those like really free flowing, awesome dudes to talk to. So getting to and getting so close with him and Hambino, like you guys were right on the edge. How did that feel like just barely missing out on that cut with how much work you guys put in?
bro, it was like the worst feeling ever. It felt like I did like all that for nothing. Like,
Mhm.
bro, it was so bad because like we had like these little tablets, and they would like update like every like whenever like a team would die, it would update like 5 seconds after or something. I remember we died and I look right down at it and it hadn't updated yet. And then I see it update to 11th. I just sit there. I'm like,
Uh,
bro,
No.
I do that. Was that in the pit as well that they had the tablets for you?
nah,
Or no,
it's
you were
only
on
main
main stage,
stage.
right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
it was
okay,
main
that was main
stage.
stage by that point. Yeah, I was that must have been pretty upsetting. But I mean, overall, still, you came out with third most kills in the tournament. And then some people might say like, oh, you played more games because you had to go through elims, but you had top 5, your 5th overall for kills per game. Do you when you see the competition there, like especially you in the kills department, the only people that were ahead of you were Zero and Imperial Hal. Like, what it goes through your head when you see the numbers you put up at this tournament, your first LAN, and especially with 160 teams, so many good players in it.
Yeah, I mean, it's like insane. Like I didn't really have like crazy high expectations at this land for like myself personally, but like seeing that, like seeing like the people that I like watched like all the time and like me like being up there like competing like side by side with them, obviously how he was on like just a different level. Like
Mhm.
I don't know how. I don't know what he took that morning, but
It
It
was
was
the
the
flip
flip
flops.
flops. It was the flip
flip
flops.
flops.
Yeah. Uh,
um,
it's got to be cool to watch for you too, because it's like you've been in the scene for a while, but there's also got to be some people you look up to in the scene where it's like, you're a younger player coming up throughout it, and there's been some guys who have been here forever. Like what would you say are your major influences like that come from this scene right here? Like some players you really look up to.
I mean, definitely Hal. I mean, he was
Mhm.
just like the first person. And also, I really like Sweet and Koiful, mainly Koiful because like his age, like I feel like something in common, like age. We're both young, coming up. I mean, he's been up, but like I feel like just like watching them do it, and then me like being in a position where I can do that is unreal.
Well, it's a very like similar situation, like reminiscent of like Koivo's come up. I mean, and I you got some time to come here and still grow. Like, you got your opportunities coming up with this next land, everything like that. But it was very much similar. Like Koivo was in CC, got picked up by one team, which gave him an opportunity to go to land where he got, a huge exposure there, and then was picked up immediately by Xset, who had just finished like first in the previous Pro League, and then now he's with his squad that they want to land and everything together, right? So, I mean, in that same vein, I was, we talked to Rambo, and he said he was a little bit afraid of like talking about Panic too much because he's like, I'm afraid Panic's going to get poached. And then, you go to this land, you put up your numbers. Did you expect after that you might get some phone calls from, some big orgs, some things like TSM and guys like Dupe and Gent?
It was definitely expected out of like all of us. Like we all thought, like even when we first got into Pro League, like we all had like a talk that like we wouldn't leave each other unless it's like a better situation financially, or just like it's just obvious that it's just like a better team, or like we should take it. And like we all talked about it, and um I'm pretty sure they said that if anyone were to get poached, that it'd be me.
Mhm.
And I mean, we really had like a talk beforehand, so there wasn't really any surprises, like no snaking. Like it was just, I let them every offer I had. So
How did it
What?
feel though when you got that call? Oh, sorry. And then you go
No,
ahead,
I
Vlad.
was going
But
to
yeah.
ask the same question.
Yeah, like what did it feel like to get the call from like not only just like TSM? I know it's not the same team, but that's still an org that's got a crazy legacy in Apex that you've been picked up now. And on top of it, Dupe and Gent, those are two guys who have been around Apex and at the top,
veterans,
yeah, for such a long time.
yeah. I mean, like it goes back to like what I said before. Like it's just something I never thought would happen to me. Like, I sat there like after I was thinking to myself, I was like, wow, like this is really like this is happening, Like it was just crazy feeling.
And it does feel weird too, because it's like you think about the original roster of TSM, and it was up and coming players that ended up becoming like the best. And I think what they're doing here is they were taking a chance on somebody that they think is up next, like I started the interview with, and it has to feel good from your perspective. Now going back to just the team Orchid and that conversation that you guys had when the call eventually came through, and it was obvious that there was going to be a break. Was that tough for you, leaving those guys who kind of gave you that opportunity to get back into the scene after everything?
Hmm. Definitely. Like I love Ram and Hambino. Like leaving them. Like I genuinely like I didn't want to, because like we made so many like promises, like we wouldn't leave. Like nothing, like but bro, it like I genuinely just didn't want to leave, but it was just a better situation. Like they were they were higher in Pro League than us. I mean, they're like I mean, I mean, Rambo's really experienced, like 5th at LAN, Pro League kill leader. I mean, Hambino, he has really good experience in Pro League multiple times, but like those two are like multi-LAN, like just like more experienced, more like just veterans, like both of them. And as a duo, they're like really good. They have experience together as well. So
Yeah, what the interesting with that though is that I was watching some of your VODs, especially from like this past recent um game day that you guys just had, and like you're really vocal on the team too. Like even though coming in least experience of them all, and you're like making a lot of kind of like almost a co-IGL calls there. There's the specific game, the last game that you guys won, when you see the Neon zone, you're like, there's only 3 South zones here in Neon. This is the best building to play. We go now. And you're making that call. Where does that like confidence come from? And even that like knowledge of the game, like how are you developing that with like such limited time compared to like them at the highest level?
with Ram and Hambino, we played hard zone. Like we'd pick a zone POI and we'd go straight to zone. Like that's why I was surprised. I was like up there on like the kills and stuff because we were like we didn't play edge. Like we weren't fighting on the edge at all.
Mm-hmm.
But and our coach, Cad Warrior, he was a coach and an analyst in one. Like he had all the zones mapped out, like everything. I memorized it. Like he helped us. I knew there's only 3 zones in Neon, or there's one like kind of in like the middle, and then there's one that happened at LAN like in the street, and then I'm pretty sure it's like there's 2 that are side by side, which is one of the ones that we had in that game.
Mm-hmm.
So just like being on a team with like a zone team is like really good, and I think like everyone should like be on like a hard zone team at least once just to gain like the other side, like the other perspective of the game. Definitely.
Yeah, especially because now you guys are playing edge, but like always focusing on that third console. So like it was pretty easy zone call maybe for you then at that point if you have that edge or zone experience.
Mhm.
Yeah, I just thought that was really cool because like you even said it right now and you said it in game. You're like, there was one right here at LAN, and I remember the one at LAN because I remember talking with a bunch of people and going, "What the fuck is this zone? Never seen this shit before." But like you knew of it, you knew of it.
Mhm.
Yeah,
VOD review, man. Spam the VOD reviews.
yeah, absolutely.
Now, when you talk about VOD reviewing and stuff like that, and a lot of times we like to kind of pick people's brains on exactly how they prepare for the games, and that could be VOD reviewing. It could also be just practicing in general. As far as your natural routine, what you do to get ready for whatever it is, a Pro League day, the Open, or whatever LAN situation you're going to find yourself in, is there like a routine that you have, or is it kind of just I go based off of what I feel like I need to do at that moment?
Like let's say we had like a bad scrim day before, or like okay, let's say we scrim the day before. I want a VOD review like that day, and I want to see the mistakes I was doing before, because those are most likely, if I'm making the mistakes that like the day before, then I like there's a chance I'll make them game day. And like I wanted to like I write down like what mistakes like I like need to focus on from like that day. And I put it on like the bottom of my monitor, and like so it's like always there. It's like always updating me. Like there was one of the games where I didn't talk enough, so then I put like on a sticky note like talk more, and
Mhm.
like I would look down at it just every now and then, just just looking around, and it would just remind me to talk more. And I would VOD review my perspective of scrims before, and then the entire team would hop in a call and we'd VOD review like from like another perspective, and figure out what the team does. Because when I VOD review myself, I want to focus on individual mistakes and
Mhm.
like what I could have done better. But then we all VOD review for about like an hour, whether that's like 2 scrim days or 1 scrim day, like really going in on like every specific. And then we just TDM for like an hour, and
Mhm.
then we're good. That's
So
like how
you
I
You do
prepare.
you do all of that with school?
I was gonna ask the same question. Yeah.
I graduated like 2 weeks ago.
Oh, nice.
Okay.
Congratulations.
Oh, so you're just balling right now.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
That's
So,
awesome. That's so awesome. I was just gonna ask, like, so you actually physically write that down? Because that's the first time
yeah.
I've ever heard that. That's
Yeah.
crazy.
I mean, I'm pretty sure I got it from, I remember Raven a while ago said Verhulst used to do it.
Yeah.
So like that's where I got the idea from. And like I mean it's helped me, so I recommend it to like a lot of people to like try it. it like, because like most of the mistakes, like you VOD review, you see it, you understand it, but you forget it. And if it's here in front of you, then I mean, there's just no way to forget it. So like your head's always on a swivel.
Yeah.
I'm just shocked that you ever had to write down to talk more.
I mean, bro, when it gets intense, bro, it's so hard to, you know. Your ranked is different. I'll talk no matter what, bro. I'll sing some comms too, bro.
Oh, I know.
Yeah,
Do you wanna flex the vocals on Jumbo?
Nah,
Why is that
it's gotta be natural. It's gotta be natural.
We'll just- we'll watch
We'll
the
have to
stream
get
and
you
we'll
back
just
on, yeah.
insert a clip. We'll insert a clip from the stream of you
Yeah.
singing to just run down my D4 ass, probably.
We'll just have to bring you on a few more times. We'll get you comfortable, get the singing voice ready, devote an entire pod interview to just singing songs. We'll just get some
Yeah.
bangers out.
Okay,
Yeah.
bet.
I like that. I
Everyone's
like
gonna
that.
love that one. Sorry, what do you want to say, Wyatt?
Oh, I was just gonna say. So you mentioned ranked and like how
Yeah.
you know when you're playing ranked, you'll sing comms, and when it comes to game day, it's a little bit different. Now, I do think there's a lot of players out there, even in like CC, who struggle with the adaptation from ranked over to competitive, and I'm sure you had your own struggles with that as well, where it was like I do this thing in ranked all the time, and ranked can be mindless, especially for players of like your caliber, because you can just kind of run down lobbies. But then there's that switch you have to make from ranked to now, hey, this is like the real deal. This is competitive. For you, what was the biggest challenge, or what is the biggest challenge switching over from ranked over to competitive?
Ranked and competitive is like just two different ball games. Like there's like, yeah, it's the same game, but it's like it's played totally just so different. Like in ranked, I don't even think I use my brain at all. Like I think I just turn it off. I just go in there to shoot my gun, like really nothing else. Like it's so hard to like be locked in for ranked when I feel like there's just like not much on the line.
Was
Like and
there like a tip or like somebody who you played with who told you like, hey, when you were first making the jump over to competitive, where they were like, hey, you need to focus on this, that kind of changed your trajectory and made it a little bit easier for you?
yeah, I mean, the thing is with like I mean, I talk a lot in ranked, but it's like a lot of mindless talking. Like I'm just like, just conversating, whatever. But like I wouldn't really talk like what I see and like what I'm doing. And like that was like my biggest issue. Cause like what I see, like I could tell that to my IGL and they could just, form a whole plan off of it. But like if I don't say what I see, obviously they're not in the same position I am to like take advantage of like a play one team's doing so that we could do something. And it's like I like talking like in game was definitely one of my biggest mistakes.
Oh,
You gonna
sorry.
follow that
I
one up,
want.
Timbo?
Yeah, I was trying to at some point switch over to now just also talking about overall right now you guys are in 6th place. And with that, the regional final coming up, I mean, you're already locked in for EWC. Obviously, that's sick, but you can move up in seeding and everything like that. What are you guys kind of doing right now? I know you got match point scrims all week. What are you talking about though going into this last weekend here with regional finals to, make sure you have the best chances when you do get to EWC?
I mean, obviously, like you said, we're scrimming, and like I've never done nothing like match point before, so like this is like it's like totally different for me, and like especially with the legend bands going up to like leading up to like it could go to like game like 13 or something, and like 12 different people are banned, like focusing on like new comps to play. Like bro, today we put out a Valk, like I we put out like Valk. I mean, it was just Valk Newcastle Rampart towards like game 8, I think it was, bro. And it's just like it's so hard. It's not really hard adjusting, but like I don't think I played Valk in comp at all. So like it opens up like a more broad like just people that I can play like or learn to play because like I haven't played them in comp before. It's
Yeah.
like
They typically have you on like the aggressive characters too, like the ballistic, the wraiths, such like that. So when you're getting to Valk, like who else did you have to play there before you get down to a deep like Valk pick? Like,
I mean, so they had me on Alter, Ash, Ballistic, Wraith, and those 4 get banned first.
Yeah, I was gonna say all your characters are getting banned.
Yeah, so I'm switching every game. And then after that, there was like one person that I played, and then right after that, they were just like Aiden wanted Aiden, bro. He got so tired of it. He was like, "Bro, play Horizon." I'm like, "Bro, like I would love that. Like I used to be a Horizon crutch. I would love that, but like she's so useless.
Mhm.
Like, and Valk fits our playstyle very well because, like like you said, just like ring 3 and then like fly in with purples.
Yeah.
We can literally point out a god spot. Like we don't need to hit a UAV before. Like her purple perk is so overpowered, and I mean it's really easy like learning new characters after all this experience. I feel like a year ago, me trying to learn like Valk or something, like I'd just be so lost, or like just trying to like learn others.
I think that's a really good transition point also to into EWC. So, like the reason why I say that is because EWC groups everything, even if you guys have to go through LCQ, 10 games you're playing. So no matter what, you're gonna be in a territory, you're gonna have 4 extra games that you've never played before in when you're dealing with legend bans, because legend ban and POI draft is still in there. Have you guys discussed that yet, or are you just one thing at a time, regional finals, then you'll talk about EWC? Or if you have discussed it, like, what are you guys already starting to plan out in terms of comps, or are you just waiting for maybe those EWC scrims? I know I asked like 4 questions there.
No, you're fine. You're fine. I get. I not to my knowledge have we discussed anything about EWC, like how like preparing for it wise, like at least legend bands wise. Like, but like still like this match point, like it could go up like a crazy amount that we've like I don't like even prepare for. But like now, I mean, obviously Aiden, he used to be in like LAN, Pro League, etc. Like he has like the really good experience that like a coach should have to like help us. Like he like in his Discord, he has like an entire layout of like if this person gets banned, then we play this. If this person gets banned, we play like he has like a whole list and everything, and like it's just like we kind of just read down the list and like see what we think is like best for us.
Yeah, that's pretty sweet. I know a lot of teams got resources like that too.
Mm-hmm.
How are you guys like? I guess specifically about you though. Now it's like you really like your big land, right? The ALGS Open, 160 teams. Lots of people could have qualified, but this was one tougher to qualify for, and 40 teams instead. What are you thinking about going like that to like the real big stage, mid-season playoffs?
Bro, it's like a little nerve-wracking. I'm like,
Yeah.
because before on the side stages, I'm like, okay, no one's looking at me. I'm just gonna sit here, play my game, bro. And now it's just gonna be like a whole like arena. I'm just like everyone's gonna be focused. I'm repping a big name too. Like the org got fans, Jint and Duke, they have their fan bases, everything. I'm just like, I feel like the little guy just like stepping in and like eyes on me. I'm like, what do I do?
We got to come up with a celebration just in case you guys win on the stage. We got to
Yeah,
come
if
up
you
with
win the
something
stage.
nice. That'll really endear
Rambo
it.
we had this idea that if we won a game on main stage, that he'd like pick me up and like I'd like cheer in the air.
Okay. Okay.
You have to get Dupe to pick you up.
Get Duke to pick me up. Yeah.
I like that. I like that.
Definitely.
Yeah, it is a little bit different when you get into those situations, and like you said, when the open happened, for you just getting to that was like you didn't know if you would ever get to this spot, and now you're getting to one where it's like the real deal. This is going to be like the traditional land that we've had in the past, although format's a little bit different. Same idea, same concept, and everything like that. One thing that is tough, and I know it's tougher, especially for younger players, is managing expectations, making sure that you don't get too high or too low in the tournament, because there's a lot of emotions that go through, especially in this situation. Before, it was 160 teams. There's a lot of other people, like you said, that have eyes on them. Now you go to this, and it's like, I got to make sure that I keep my cool and make sure that I don't lose it if like something goes wrong or something like that. Has there been any practice with you internally to be like, all right, if things aren't going my way early, I got to do this to make sure I maintain my equilibrium?
Recently for me, it's been just like a flip a switch type deal. Cause like you can ask Enoch, like, we played ranked. I've gotten mad, like, and I don't know if you watched like not the game day last week, but the week before that,
That's why I was
Like,
talking about.
yeah. Me and
Yeah.
Duke, like we were kind of arguing a little bit, some like that. But then like we talked about it, apologize, like, we had like a deep conversation about it. And like I told him like it wouldn't happen again. And like I like, especially like while they're both streaming, like, repping a big org, I definitely like had to like instantly change something, which was like something like I knew it'd have to happen at some point. Like I didn't know if I'd have to like ease into it, but like there I just had to like kind of flip the switch and like try to just calm myself a little bit. Like
Mhm.
when something bad happens or something goes wrong. So
Yeah, and I think it's going to be a learning process because once again, you are very young, and it takes time. Like that's not something that you're just born with. A lot of times, like it takes time, especially putting yourself in those situations. And this is going to be one of those good situations to do it in. And I think you've got the right squad to help you out with that too. Now, talking about your new squad and everything that's going on with them, we talked about Orchid a little bit. Moving over into TSM and your two new teammates now, kind of go through what your process has been like, kind of learning their different play styles, what they like to do differently than your last team, and kind of adapting to that.
I mean, when I played with Orchid, it was, do this loop path perfectly and get out of the POI. Like go to zone. Don't stop for nothing. Don't go to the arsenal to get an extra gun if you need it. But like playing with them, I can chill. I can take my time a little bit. Still on pace. Just like I don't need to like freak out about not being like not looting fast enough. Like just playing edge and like going in on like that ring 3 scan and just working our way in. I mean, the two play styles are like literally opposite. Like,
Mm-hmm.
but like understanding zone, like I said, like it just helps you so much while you're playing edge. You can predict what teams are doing. Like, I mean, it's just
Do you
crazy.
prefer one over the other, like one play style over the other?
I definitely, I really, like, bro, I loved zone. I don't know why. I told myself, like, when I was in CC, I was like, bro, I'm just gonna run things down, not think about it. I was like, bro, when I'm in pro league, I'm gonna do the same thing. No, no, I didn't do the same thing. Like, we just got, like, I don't know why. It's just, like, it's less nerve wracking. Like my first split in pro league, like I'm a little like on game day every now and then I'm a little scared to take a fight, like obviously I'm never gonna like admit that. Like it'd be like I'd be getting nervous sometimes, and like I'm sure like when my nerves calm down, like let's say like next split, like next year or something, like I think I'll be a lot better in pro league. But it's just like the nerves, like they don't like affect the decision I make, but it's just how I feel like going
Mm-hmm.
in to do it. Like sometimes I sit there, like let's say we kill Falcons, I'm like, bro, Hal and Zero might be watching me. Like, bro, I gotta do good. I gotta do good. And like, bro, if I do like a bad spray or something, I'll be like, bro, I know Zero's roasting me right now. Like, I don't know why I be getting in my head about it, but like I definitely shouldn't be.
Mm-hmm.
That's interesting. I thought you were gonna say the opposite. I thought you
I
were gonna
saw it.
say
Yeah.
edge because of like, well, just your ability to like put up kills and everything like that. I thought you'd love it because like like even like you said, like you look up to someone like Koifel, and I remember talking to him once in the past, and he played for a hard zone team with Sentinels, and he's like, as much as he loved the opportunity, he's like, I just can't do this. He's like, he did not want to like have to run the zone all the time. He needed to play for a team that would give him the ability to play edge because he wanted to fight always. So I thought you kind of might say the same thing. So that's really interesting to
Like
hear
I
the
like don't get me
difference.
wrong.
Yeah.
Like I love fighting. Like, it's always fun, and just more fun than sitting in a building looking at teams rotate.
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot more fun, faster pace, which is like definitely what I like more, but like consistency wise, like let's say like it's really hard to like drop a donut on like as a zone team. But like
Yeah.
on edge, bro, like a donut, it hurts. Like a
Mm-hmm.
0 point game, that's like detrimental to like a mental. It's
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
What's your best way to like bounce back if that ever does happen?
oh, bro. I mean, to be honest, I just blast music and try to forget it happened. I sit there, I turn it up all the way. I just sit there looking dead at my monitor. I'm just like, okay, that game didn't happen.
Mm-hmm.
You have a
Just
go-to game day song or bounce back song?
uh to be honest, just my playlist, and I just shuffle it. Like
What's
whatever
number
I
one on that
get.
playlist?
Hmm?
What's number one on that playlist right now?
Number one. Hold on, it's pulled up right here.
Let's
You
get
gotta
it.
have one song that you're like, when you go to the playlist, you click that song first.
You're like hoping it pops up. You know, like you're just hoping.
When we won, I think we got second, like, or third, one of the game day. I think it was like our first game day, or second actually. We won a game on E District, and I started playing Love Sosa by Chief Keef, and Nicewick switches over to like my POV, and I'm just over there. I'm over there having fun, singing my heart out, and he's
There
just
you go.
like, this kid wasn't even alive when it came out. I'm like, okay, man.
Oh, I love that.
Oh my god, that's
I love that. No, that's great. That's all. I would assume, going back to what you were saying though, that I guess the structure of zone probably feels better, because it's like when you're playing Edge, you could be flying by the seat of your pants, and it could be like a 17 kill game that you win, or you could just, like you said, have a donut. But at least with zone, like you said, it's probably just that structure of knowing exactly what's going to happen. I would say 80% of the time, right?
Yeah, like most of the things, like when you play zone, a lot of the zones recently, like the past like year or something, like they've been so repetitive,
Mm-hmm.
like just always copy paste, like. And when you play it so many times, you just know where a team's gonna be at, when they're gonna be there. Like, it's just so easy to predict how the game's gonna play out when you've done so many reps on it.
Yeah.
But like with Edge, like, a team could choose to like go this way or this way because like a Evo Harvester is that way. Like little things like that affect like the beginning of the game, and like it's hard to predict.
Now, we asked the same question to Rambo when we were bringing this exact situation up, but like you said, a lot of times you're just sitting in a building waiting for, or just watching teams rotate. I got to assume that can get extremely boring at times, just very mind numbing. Rambo said he likes to just work on his wall bounces, do different stuff like that. Is there something you're working on or thinking about or just doing while you're waiting for like the game to kind of get closer and closer to the end?
For scrims, like sometimes I might have a little music in the
There you go.
background. Like there's like nothing, like I'm literally like, these are scrims, it's not worth anything. Like obviously, it's practice, get reps in. Like it's so hard for me to like just not fall asleep sometimes. I'm just sitting there like, but we got triple
okay.
blue.
What was it a kangaroo fact that you were looking up?
Oh
I
no,
saw a clip of you were mid tournament and you pulled up Google mid game, almost died, looking up what was it? What was the
reaction time of a dolphin.
Well, what do you remember?
Is
the
it
fact?
good? Like, yeah, is it a good reaction time? He's got to Google it.
You
right
got to
now.
remember the fact. No, he doesn't remember.
No, guys, I shit you not. There's a clip on Twitter of mid, they're chilling in wall. And then Panic starts getting shot at, almost dies, dashes his way into the building.
Yeah, I react like instantly. I know, like I dash backwards, hit a 180, and like I TP to like the only safe spot in the next building. And I'm like, I got the reaction time of a dolphin. I tab out, I look it up, and then as I'm tabbed out, I think I hear like Hambino like, they're landing on you, they're landing on you. I'm like, what? And then like I tab in and they're landing on me. I start screeching.
Just like a dolphin. Just like I don't know if dolphins even screech.
And I start running.
That's great. Yeah,
I remember that.
I've always wondered with zone teams like that. I just can't imagine. There's just got to be times where you're just, all right, let's look up the reaction time of a dolphin. Yeah, like there's nothing else going on. That's actually, if you play zone for the rest of your life and you just continued to look up facts from like round 1 to like round 3. Be a pretty smart person by the end of that. Like you have a lot of like
so
trivial.
much time.
Yeah, you could win a lot. Like if you're not winning Apex tournaments, you could win like a trivia night at like a restaurant or something. Like you could stack up some facts. Maybe even win Jeopardy. Just keep that in mind.
I could be like, it's in game. Hold on, I'm almost done with this question.
Yeah,
wait.
Yeah. That'd be
I don't even know who the most hard zone team is anymore. Like once upon a time, I'd be like, yeah, RKN. That's the guy who would fucking know everything then about like all those random facts.
It's got to be like every time I bring up zone, everybody brings up Rambo.
Yeah, I
I
mean they're
guess,
like
but-
That charge rifle back in the day used to sing.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I guess I don't know. I think I don't know why RKN comes to mind. That guy just because even like ask Keon, all they did was they just sat in zone. They would never deviate from that path.
Mm-hmm.
yeah. Bro, it's so demoralizing being triple blue in God's spot, getting inted by triple double red purple gold. Just
Yeah.
like, bro, what do I do? Like
Mm-hmm.
it's so hard to defend that. And like, bro, me and Rambo have like this joke of like it's just like the typical Orchid game where you just die, 8th place, 1 kill. We're just like, okay, bro. Like I feel like we went through so much just for like 3 points. I'm just like,
Mhm.
oh.
Yeah, that's zone games. You just sit there the whole time and then get your 7th place. But like when you say that, and I am asking this because I am like I've never hated a meta more. But like, what are your thoughts on this Devo meta, gold Devo meta, especially when ballistic? I'm sure you're throwing that in the sling when you're on the ballistic. What are your thoughts of that right now? This meta, are you liking it or absolutely hating it? What do you think?
Okay, for comp, I love this meta. But for ranked, it is the worst thing I've ever experienced.
Mm-hmm.
I hate it so much. You get a knock, they ultra TP. Like it's
Mhm.
just so boring and repetitive. But for comp, I really love it. And like what I do with ballistic, I don't know if I've seen anyone else do it, but I don't put like since we play hard edge, I don't put the ballistic in my sling. Like I build it up and then I have a rampage in my sling, so I got both. And then Jin also builds up a Devo. Cause like I prefer the Devo over Rampage, but sometimes there's scenarios where got to break down a door, and
Mhm.
that's when I'll use the Rampage. So it's like I got both, just pick and
Best of both
choose.
worlds.
That
Yeah.
is
Best of both
the
worlds.
if I faced a person like that in ranked, I'd probably uninstall the game. I'll keep it PG and say that. I'd do something a lot worse though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So earlier, I probably cut it from this, but my child walked in on this interview, and it just reminded me of this question that I wanted to ask. And it's like, you still being young, you have this opportunity to do all these things with gaming, and I assume like trying to explain this to your parents isn't the easiest thing. But I don't even know. Maybe it was. From your perspective, how was it to kind of tell your parents like, "Hey, I'm gross in a good way on this game," and it could be life changing? Like, did you have that conversation with them, or how did that conversation go?
It wasn't really a conversation as much as me just like updating them. Like I would be like when I was in CC, I wouldn't really, tell them anything about Apex, just they'd just know that I'd be on Apex.
Mhm.
But then I got in Pro League, I was like, I'm in Pro League now. Like they didn't really know what that meant. Like I assume they didn't. Like I didn't go too much like into detail. But then like whenever it came out, like, there's a LAN and you're guaranteed the LAN if you're in Pro League, I was like, I mean, I got to tell them about a LAN, obviously, because
Mhm.
like one of them had to go, because like I'm underage,
Yeah.
and I mean I talked with my dad about it and like asking me like like what I wanted to like do in life and stuff, just like a conversation like that, and like my like what I want is like obviously I want to pursue this, like it would be like amazing because like I love doing it, I do it every day, and like if I could do it one for like money, like on salary, which like now I am, and like just having fun while I'm doing it, and like be able to like travel the world while I do it, it's just like a combination. And I
Mhm.
just so like
Yeah.
talking with them, like it wasn't really hard to like like they support me like through all of it, and it's really nice to have.
Did they start to like try to get into it afterwards, like when you were trying to explain the land situation, or was it just like, we're going to go with you, but we don't really know what's happening? Or did they try to like get kind of involved with the format and how things were going?
No, they definitely learned everything about the game.
There
Like
you go.
they know what match point is. They know like they know top 10 you go next. They made Twitter accounts. They made Twitch accounts. Like they really got into
So
it.
they're supportive then.
Yeah,
I love
very.
that.
You're
I
doing
love
the
seeing
right
that.
thing too, right? Which is really cool. Like a lot of pros don't take the opportunity when they get it to like start building out their brand and everything like that. And even though there was the whole like cheater accusation situation, like Wyatt said, like right from the beginning, you were just like being funny on Twitter, like with this situation, and he followed you for that purpose, right? But even now,
Mhm.
last month, you put in 230 hours streaming. And like, you know, you're averaging pretty good viewers, like, you know, 140 average viewers, which is kind of insane to be doing. And I know you said you just graduated, but at the time you still would have been doing that on top of school. So like you're trying to make sure that like on top of competing, you got your salary, all that stuff. You're trying to build your brand on your own, because that's probably the most important thing. Like this is
Mhm.
such a precarious industry, and for your age, like if you want to dive into it, chase your dreams, you're young, go for it, but make sure that you have other stuff in place at the same time. You're taking the good approach to it. That's cool to see.
Yeah. And like with what you said about the cheating thing, like if there was one thing I could do, like when that happened, like I responded to like every single little hate
You
comment, which
did. You
I
did.
I should not have done that. Like looking
Yeah.
back, like I had people left and right telling me not to, and I just didn't listen. I ignored them. And I like that's why like I understand the internet like a lot more now was because I went through that. And like I understand like it's just don't respond to the hate. Just keep going and like don't do nothing. And if
Yeah.
I could change one thing, obviously it's, you know, not respond to every single little thing and argue with someone in like some random Twitter, you know, is I would have marketed like so much more off of it.
Mhm.
Like I didn't upload like on TikTok, like nothing like, you know, I would have really taken advantage of like the entire situation while it was hot.
To
So
be fair, I do feel like you did a good job. And even though like you probably shouldn't responded to every single one, me personally, I read every response and I was laughing my ass off. Like I said, I brought you up on this pod because I was like, I don't know who this guy is. I had no idea. I had no idea about anything, but every tweet you would put out, you know, how Twitter has like the for you. I
mhm.
wasn't even following you at the time, but every time I'd refresh it, it was just Panic responding to somebody at the top of my For You. And I was just reading everyone, going back on the page, watching it. So listen, it was probably not the smartest thing at the time, but there you did make some fans from it because I was like, I don't know. I came on the show, I was like, I don't know if this guy's cheating. I have no idea. But I'm going to say right now, this is hilarious. Like, this is funny. And you could have marketed it a little bit more. Yes, maybe. Who knows?
Maybe a little bit more positively, I
Maybe a
should
little bit
say.
more positively, but I think it worked out for you in the end. And I do
Mhm.
think this is a I don't know how I can turn this into a question, but I do think this is something to take a look at. Is I think everything happened for a reason for you, and that situation, the way it played out, where you decided I'm going to step away for a couple months, and then you come back, and I think you had talked about there were some times where you could have teamed, and those teaming opportunities fell through. I think it might have had to fall through for you to get to this opportunity that you're at now, right? Like, who knows
Yeah.
what happens? Like, maybe things don't go well because at that time, Alberlelli was kind of struggling at, you know, around that time frame. So it's like maybe it all worked out for you in the end. And yes, there was some opportunities you might have missed out on, but you have one sitting in front of you right now, and you seem to be
Mhm.
doing a good job about it. So I guess I'll ask it this way: is like, have your parents been able to help you kind of map out what you want to do with your content slash professional career moving forward?
I mean, mainly like content wise, you know, just like going forward in the future. I've mainly like I want to be in control of that. Like I want to be able to like know exactly what I want instead of like like obviously they're helpful, but like I just want it all because like it's my future. So like I want to like be in charge of like, you know, everything that like that happens.
Mm-hmm. That's good. Yeah. Yeah, it's, you know, it's just one of those things where once again it's like you rewind and it's like it's just crazy to me to see like how I was talking about it then to now, but it is what it is, and now we're here, and we're doing good. Boys, I don't have too many more if you guys don't either,
I
but
got one.
I
okay,
will.
hit
I
it.
so
Yeah.
Oh
Go
no.
ahead,
now that you're signed to TSM, a little bit more eyes on you. Does this mean that we can expect less of the panic crash outs? Because dude, there are some legendary ones, including one about Oxygen Josh, which I think,
I don't even know.
which if you, I mean, that one's probably scraped from the internet at this point.
Oh, that one
But
was
man,
good.
dude, has been some legendary panic crash outs.
Wasn't
Do
there a
we have more ahead, or is that behind you?
I mean, as much as I would, want it to stay, like, like I can't be doing that. Like, sadly, like,
Wasn't
bro,
there a
there's
desk slam one literally like a week ago? I remember seeing a clip of you just destroying your desk.
Been there. I've been there last night.
oh yeah, there's a lot of the desk slams one since I've got my face cam. But like
Yeah.
since, like I said, since Dupe and I, like, we all had that conversation, they were like, it's fine you do it in rank. Like, if that's your content idea, that's fine. Like, if people like it, then they like it. If they don't, they don't. But like they said, all they asked for me is like not do it in a competitive, professional like environment, which I build habits, right? So like I feel like if I do it in like ranks or whatever, then I would definitely do it in scrim. So overall, I just gotta stop doing it. So like I think last time I punched my desk was like yesterday morning, which is like
That doesn't sound like that long ago.
I thought you were gonna say it was
Yeah, I
like
thought
2
you were
or
gonna
3
be like
weeks
it's been
ago.
like a month.
He's crashing on desks, not on people. It is a step in the right direction.
We're moving forward. I guess we gotta congratulate him though on it being yesterday morning and not this morning.
24 hours.
Yeah.
He lasted 24
Yeah.
hours.
It's probably closer to like 36 hours strong at this point.
oh yeah, we're making it. We're making it.
Hell
Let's
yeah.
go.
We're gonna keep tabs now, and it's gonna be Panic desk. Like, how many days since Panic last smashed his desk?
That's
Uh-huh.
actually just put. I would like a counter. Like that'd be nice. Day
Yeah.
like it's like those classic like job site things where it's like days without an accident. You just have it in the background of your stream, and when you do hit the desk, you got to flip it back to
You
0, and you got to start
should
all
do
over.
that. You
Mm-hmm.
should.
Oh yeah.
That's
That's
great,
amazing.
though. E, did you have any more though? Before
I
your
got my
question,
last one that I was
You
gonna
got your
ask.
last one?
Oh,
Let's
no.
hit it.
I got wait before your last one. These are 2 questions. They're together. How many times did you play on main stage at Open? Do you remember? Like, it was like 2 or 3 times.
It was 3 times.
3 times.
Yeah, we
Okay.
played winners round 2 on main stage. We played elim round 3 on main stage, and then we played finals on main stage.
So I'm not sure. Like, so we always ask a question here, whether you prefer top bunk, so the top of the stage, or the bottom bunk. I don't know if you got the opportunity to play on both, because I remember you guys were on bottom for one of the sets. We were sitting like almost right in
Mhm.
front of you, but nonetheless, with the experience you had, limited experience, three sets, top bunk or bottom bunk, which would you prefer playing at LAN on the main stage? I know you didn't like
we
it that
were
much.
only on bottom bunk, but bro,
Oof.
I wanted top
You
so
wanted top?
bad. Bro, I feel like feel like I'm flying out there.
You
It
can see the
would've
whole
been
crowd. Yeah.
I feel like it would have been more fun.
So the answer we normally get, people always say bottom is the best because I guess at the earlier days, for some of the players who've been around for a while, like I guess it used to shake, but I think they've made it a lot better to where it doesn't shake anymore. So it's better for MNK players. Controller players doesn't really affect them. But they say on bottom bunk you get to see the crowd like a little bit better because they're closer to you. But
Mhm.
top you get to see like the lights and everything, and I'm assuming top would probably be better at Japan because Japan had a
So Japan
Gajillion
top
people.
people like top at Japan because you can see the crowd better from there, and the crowd can see you. Like, if you're too close to the front, you couldn't see the bottom. Interestingly enough, I did hear from Burke. He told me that top at the Open was shaky. I don't know if that's because it was a smaller area that they had to compact that stage into, right? Because the Japan stage was massive compared to like
huge.
that one, right?
Yeah.
So like, I don't know if that was the reason why he did say it was shaky. So I wonder if you get up on top, you're like, nah, I don't like that. It's
Get me
shaking
off.
too
Get me
much,
off.
right? 'Cause
Yeah.
Burke said like they can literally feel like when people underneath would even jump up and stuff like that, it would shake.
Interesting.
So either way, yeah, you only got the experience at the bottom. You said you want, and it's interesting. It's interesting. Most people do say bottom though.
I heard the top was like really hot though, because like all the PCs go in, heat
That's another thing.
rises.
Yeah. That's another
Yeah.
thing. They always say top is typically a lot hotter, and why some of them don't like it. We had Hal, who won 3 lands up until this year on the top, and then he still said bottom. So that's how you know.
To each their own.
Bottom's the best.
To each their own. E, do you want to hit him with it?
All right, Panic the question. It's been a while since I've asked this question.
Yeah, we've
I
had a lot of
know.
repeats. We
We've
get
had
a lot of
repeats.
Memory has been
Yeah.
repeats. And
Oh,
so
no.
I was almost like, oh shoot, what's the
I
question?
almost forgot it too. Like,
Wait, what?
it's the top 1%. Top 1%.
Yeah,
no.
I know. I had lots of time to really just regain it. All right, Panic. The question that I ask everybody who comes on the pod for their first time is, you are currently performing in the top 1% of your field without question. You're about to be heading to LAN for your second time. Absolutely love to see it. And so, in this journey that you've gone on to get into the top 1%, what is something that you could, like, what's something that you've learned along the way that, regardless of the field that somebody was pursuing, they would be able to take and apply it to their pursuit of getting into the top 1%?
I mean, a basic one is just don't give up. Cause like, especially from like my journey, from like the accusations to like just not giving up and like still going, and then like now being like a potential like, like really really good player at the top, is just not giving up and focusing on like what you really want. Cause like one person I can point out right now, I feel like Vosky. I feel like Vosky is really good, and like I don't know why. I don't know why he's not in pro league. I feel like he definitely deserves it. He's good enough. Like he just, I don't know, just does not give up, and he'll definitely make it. I mean, that goes for like anyone. If they really want something, then they'll get it. Like that's how I see it in my eyes. Like I feel like you can really like, if it's like not like some crazy dream, like that's just not possible. I feel like anything could really happen. Like
Yeah.
anything's possible as long as you want it and you find out how to want it, like how to get it if you want it bad enough.
Yeah. Maybe the
That's-
only crazy thing that you couldn't achieve is like getting the reaction time of like a dolphin, right?
Yeah.
Like that's gonna be tough to do, because that's like
Yeah.
a wild animal. No, honestly, man, Panic, it's been awesome having you on. Also, real quick, Panic, pause in the interview. Don't leave when I say, all right, see ya. I'm just gonna stop it, and we gotta wait till
All
it
right.
uploads. So I
All
just
right.
had to say, I forgot to tell you that before we started.
That was
Alright.
crucial.
Yeah.
Big
Yeah,
flag
because I
right
was
there from
afraid
White,
you were just
'cause
gonna
that was
back out immediately.
I was just gone. I would be gone.
Yeah, yeah. All right, here we go. 3, 2, 1. But Panic, once again, thanks, man, for hopping on. It's been a pleasure having you on the show. And next time, hopefully, when we bring you back on, you got a trophy to your name. You're not just at your second lane, you got a trophy now. That's what we're hoping for.
Yes,
Once
sir.
again, man, thanks for hopping on, man.
Of course. It's been a pleasure.
All right, ladies and gents, we got the regional roundup. We're going to go through EMEA, APAC South, and APAC North, going through and talking about everything that went down as we get ready for EWC coming up here in just a bit. Now, Don, you already know how we start this thing. We always go with EMEA first. Let's kick it off with Saturday, run through kind of what went down in the EMEA region. Let's get it.
Yeah, so Saturday was a crazy day. Like we mentioned in the beginning part of the episode, a 10K out of complete nowhere somehow gets Nasky out of the woodworks, get him onto the roster right before the roster lock, and not only win the day, they win 3 games, they make 5 out of 6 end zones, and they get the bonus point for winning the 3 games and absolutely catapult themselves up the standings to even give themselves a shot. And it was just, absolutely unbelievable day by them. Nasky really filling in well, kind of slipped into the fragger role now, which he really hasn't been too much of on a lot of previous iterations of teams. He's been an aggressive IGL at times, especially when like Wraith was in the meta. And we definitely saw a lot of the Wraith plays he was able to make this weekend. There was one specifically on E District where it's the final 3 teams, and as the teams are all kind of converging on 10K spot, he actually ports out, gets back behind all of the teams. I believe either Postkill or Kashera, I can't remember which one, were able to take the port with them, and they actually got some shots in the back to the other 2 teams to end up winning the game. So absolutely amazing job by those guys. It's again such an amazing storyline to see. And that was definitely the highlight of the Saturday. I don't know what your thoughts are again on that, if you want to talk about it again, but it was just crazy to see, man.
Yeah, once again, I think it's just better when Nasky's in there. I think you need to have some names whenever you have these tournaments, right? And especially representing other regions. We already know the Americas, and I think most people know the Americas region's big names. You want to have more of the big names from these other regions representing so that that region can grow. And it's like a lot of times people do only watch the NA, but for those other like NA NA watchers to be able to know that there's other names that they could go ahead and watch in these other regions. It gives them more Apex to watch, and it gives them more of a reason to go to tune in and make sure that their knowledge expands as the esport expands. So it's always better to have a name like Nasky in there. And I actually met him at that bar when we were in New Orleans, but I was
Yeah.
hammered. I barely remember.
Yeah, it
I
definitely
shook his
sounded like
hand. That was about it.
yeah, no, it definitely sounded like some interesting times if I had gone. Unfortunately, I did not.
Yeah.
Probably one of the biggest throws of my
One of the
small
biggest throws.
Apex
It's okay.
career.
Yeah, we'll
I'm
have plenty of time.
definitely over it.
Mhm.
It's fine.
Yeah, you sound like it. Mhm.
I definitely do. And definitely the lighting definitely helps with me being over it as well.
Mhm.
And I'm not sitting here in a dark room sad
Yeah.
about it. Anyway, but I say the other big storylines though from that Saturday, Go Next once again kind of drops a dud. And when I say kinda, they basically did. They
I
ended
need
up
to
getting
stop talking about teams.
they get 16th. And I just, again, it's one of those things where you just wonder what is going on with their consistency. Because you got three players that have a ton of experience. You think Pro League would be pretty simple for them, but it has just not been the smoothest of roads. And with that result, I know that pushes them outside of the top 8 qualifying spots. So they're definitely going to have to really lock in for the regional final and place high. Otherwise, we might see them miss out on EWC, which
Mhm.
I think would definitely be one of the biggest shockers of the EMEA Pro League side. Another really big name that probably people would be talking about would be Dragons, which is K20 and the boys over there. Get a 13th, which again, they were sitting in a decent spot, but with that particular result, they also did not play on Sunday, and they also drop outside of the top 8 spots. So it's going to be very interesting to see. We'll get to the scoreboard here, obviously, in a minute after we talk about Sunday, but those are two teams that definitely going into Saturday were a lot more comfortable than when they left Saturday. So it's going to be very interesting to see what happens with those two teams specifically.
Yeah, now we move into Sunday here, and Team Nemesis was the winner, Alliance in second, and Gaming Gladiators in third. But the story I do want to talk about here, because we already know what Alliance can bring, and we'll get to Nemesis here in a moment. But FaZe, I had mentioned last time that we did this that FaZe was on the up and up, and for whatever reason, it just seemed like the team was starting to gel a little bit better. And you had mentioned something along the lines of when you have a team who's able to play a little bit more time, like have more time together, and get past that initial feeling out process, things can start to really look good. Now, once again, they had such an awful start to the season that currently they're still sitting at 16th, but at least they're in the regional final. Like, you gave yourself an opportunity in the regional final. And this is after a 0-point day to start the first day. They got a 1 point. And since then, they've ripped off 18, 9, 14, and 16. FaZe, I mean, this is a team that could surprise some people. And if you're in a regional final situation, who knows?
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, like you mentioned, a 0 and a 1 point day, they were legitimately dead last at one point. And the fact that they even have a sign of life that they're, up into the regional qualifying spots, are going to be able to have the ability to play in regional finals. And like you mentioned, just give themselves even a chance. Like we mentioned, with the elevator regional points, again, it's still going to be tough to pass a lot of these teams because, again, a lot of these other teams will also be scoring points. But even when we're looking at some of the projections here that I know Privacy had brought up as I get it up here, they're looking at probably somewhere for their cutoff being potentially in the mid 90s. There are some scenarios where it is in the 80s. So it'll be very interesting to see if they are able to get like a second place. That gives them, I believe, 29 points. That gets them pretty close to that 80-point mark. So it's going to be very interesting to see if they can continue their momentum that they've started to build, or if it ends up being a little bit too late. Again, with being at regional finals, obviously Alliance will be the heavy favorites going into that regional final. And I would be shocked if Alliance didn't win. But if it's not Alliance, there's a lot of other teams that are really scrapping to be that second best team in EMEA right now. And FaZe Clan, if they can continue to build on their chemistry, who's to say they can't find their way to sneak in and win regional finals? So
Mm-hmm.
it's definitely a good shout. It'll be very interesting to see what they do.
Now, speaking of the overall standings right now, I say we kind of move into these overall standings here because we talk about Team Nemesis winning Sunday. They're probably in that upper echelon of teams in EMEA where they're really not worried about anything. You've got Alliance at 128 points, you got Navi at 109, and then Nemesis at 100. The drop off is significant. It goes from 100 points back down to 83. So really, if you're in that zone, that gray area, you're shooting for around that fourth place spot. If that's where you're trying to get to, I don't think many teams are going to have the opportunity to really jump over that. And you look at some of these teams on the outside. You mentioned the Dragon earlier. You mentioned Ronin. You have Aurora surprisingly down there, and then you have FaZe. Like, there is an opportunity here, and it seems so daunting to be in EMEA and only have those 8 spots, man.
Yeah, I couldn't imagine, especially when Alliance already is qualified as one of them. 100%, it wouldn't have mattered where they finished. It basically only gives you 7 spots to play with, right? And we're just talking about the odds with how, again, a bunch of teams are kind of fighting for those next few spots underneath Alliance. When we take a look at like the math here, I know that along with Alliance, obviously that was already qualified. Navi and Nemesis, like you mentioned, are 100% mathematically guaranteed. So you only are playing for 5 spots. Like, that is absolutely, like you mentioned, daunting to have that thought process, especially if you're not one of those teams that's already in those spots 4 through 8. It is going to be an absolute dogfight on Sunday for these teams.
Even if you're in those spots, it goes 83, 83, 81, 80, 75, 75, 74, 72, 70. And then that's going down to 13th. Then you're at 65, 61, 60, 58, 50. Like, it's so tight. It's an accordion right now. Everything is super close after that 3rd place position. Like, it is extremely close.
Yeah, and I'm just like, along with that, you're just mentioning the names that are in these spots, right? You got Team War that's got Arctic, that's got played on a ton of big time rosters in EMEA. You've got 10K, like we mentioned, with Nasky and Kashera and Postkill. You've got Gaming Gladiators that we haven't brought up yet. Absolutely save their vibes that they had before going into Sunday. They were, I don't even want to say down and out, but they were very close to having to basically win regional finals to get them into EWC. But they end up coming away with the 3rd place, being able to get themselves into the picture, get into that 8th place spot. Absolutely huge for them. It definitely seemed like they finally found some comfortability within the roster. But again, they're in the mix. You've got Ronin, like we mentioned. You got Go Next, like we mentioned, Dragons. And then again, you just go down to a team like even Aurora, FaZe Clan. I mean, there's so many big names that are on the verge of not going. And it's like, who is going to end up taking those last couple spots? Again, like, I am very excited to watch. It's going to be one hell of a Sunday for these teams. And again, I'm just, as much as it sucks to not have qualified for regional finals for our team, I'm kind of glad I'm not playing or being involved, because I would be stressed the fuck out if I was coaching or anything. So it's going to be crazy.
Yeah. Now let's move over into APAC North, and we had another 2 days over there, and we're going to get into all of the regional final stuff. But we start off with E36, the hat I am wearing. Enterforce 36 win the day. RRX right behind, Kinotrope behind them. And then, Dawn, we have to talk about what's going on. So, from your perspective on this day, we do see Crazy Raccoons jump up a little bit higher to that 7th place. And this is a team we've talked about a few times here already. But what did you see there on Saturday?
Yeah, I mean, definitely the big storyline to mention. We would have to mention E36. Just played absolutely out of their minds the whole week, the whole day. Big shout out to them. They end up winning 3 games, which again gets you a bonus point in the overall standings. And I mean, we're talking about games that they absolutely fragged out. They had a 14 kill win in game 2, 12 kill win in game 3, and they had an 11 kill win in game 5. I mean, just whether it's Storm Point, E District, they absolutely fragged out on the day. Huge props to those guys, because there's definitely some question marks when they had the roster change of what they would still look like. Was Champs kind of a fluke? Because we had just seen them in Germany last year, right? they're the team that everybody is like, oh, they entered TSM, they ruined TSM's chance to win. Why the hell would you jump off the height? And now you go to, oh, they're one of like the names to know in APAC North. So it's definitely been a very big improvement from these guys just in terms of consistency. We'll obviously have to see if they can replicate that in terms of a midseason playoff EWC type setting. But at least for this day, big props to them. They played extremely well.
Now we move into Sunday here, and SBI Esports, they get the win. GHS Boom, a name we've seen a lot. They're in second place. How would you say this? Is it Arneb?
Arnib, yeah.
Arnib.
Yeah.
And then we got Nosy Fox over there in fourth. And once again, Crazy Raccoons in fifth place. So back-to-back days, big days for Crazy Raccoons. What happened on Sunday, Don?
Yeah, definitely want to give a big shout out to SBI. They're a team that, again, I don't think a ton of people have really mentioned or talked about, maybe outside the region. But with that day, they catapult themselves into fifth overall, which we'll break that down here in a moment. But it was an absolutely big day for them, and they'd come off a sixth place on that Saturday as well. So they've been definitely one of the nice surprises so far. Because the big story with APAC North this year is just like there's just been a lot more parity outside of Nosy Fox really this year. We really haven't seen like the Fnatic being as dominant as we would expect them to be. And some of these other orgs like a Crazy Raccoon, like a Riddle Order, we really haven't seen them come out and dominate like we've seen in the past. So SBI has really done a good job of stepping up and taking one of those spots that has been kind of vacated by some of these other teams. Like you mentioned, Crazy Raccoon, somehow out of the depths of how bad they've played so far in Pro League, they managed 2 top 7s. They get themselves into the regional final picture and again, give themselves a shot because that's all you can do when you kind of have those rough starts, right? It's just give yourself a shot. It's a team we've seen that's won on LAN. They have won our match point finals before. I believe, if I remember correctly, they're the roster that won a regional final in 4 games.
Mm.
Which I believe it's like the fastest it's ever happened across the entire world. No one's ever done it quicker than that. And it'll be very interesting to see with as much experience as these guys have in a match point setting, whereas some of these other teams probably don't have that same experience, right? Can they figure it out on Saturday? I believe our Saturday our time would be Sunday their time, but what can they bring? Because I really do think that if they can find some of their old form, being very aggressive, getting some kills, but also being able to hold down their spots and lock down wins, they can be as big a threat as anybody in that regional final. So I'll be very interested to see what happens with them. But it's again, we can get in the standings here now. It's going to be a crazy region as well.
Yeah, so this region is going to be a lot more interesting, I would say, than EMEA. And the reason being is the points difference. There's not as big of a gap in APAC North that there was in EMEA. The number 1 team is sitting at 104 points. But then after that, you go down from 93, 92, 89, 85, 78, 77, and so forth. It is very, very close, which means if any team even if you're Nosy Fox, you probably still want to have somewhat of a decent day. You don't absolutely have to win. But if you're having any of that take place, you're going to need to make sure that you perform today. The teams in there are Nosy Fox, RRX, E36, GH Boom, SBI Esports, Arneb, Kenotrope Gaming, and Fnatic is sitting in that final spot. They are tied with Kenotrope at 77 points. But just outside of that, a lot of other teams are waiting in the wings. We have teams like Reject. We have teams like Crazy Raccoons. So this is going to be an interesting one, Don. From your perspective, where are you looking at on these standings, and why is Fnatic so far down on this leaderboard that we've expected them for so long to be at the top of?
Yeah, and just for some extra context too, just in terms of the numbers, Nosy Fox is the only team that is fully mathematically qualified. Again, like you mentioned, though, they do want to have another great day because based on where they finish, that does come into play when it comes to like seeding, where they go into pools, things like that. So they'll definitely want to be on top of where they place in regional finals. So they kind of guarantee themselves that number 1 slot in APAC North. But after that, like you mentioned, like there's nobody that is fully safe. Obviously the RRXs, the E36s, GHS, probably feeling pretty decent with where they're at. But again, you still got to show up. The projections we've got here from Privacy is putting this somewhere between like 87 points to like 92, 93. So there's still a couple teams, that are in those top 7, 8 spots that do feel pretty comfortable with where they're at, but they still are going to have to show up. Like you mentioned with Fnatic, they are right there on the cusp of not making it. We're talking about a team that I'm pretty sure has won like 3 of the last 4 or 4 of the last 5 splits of Pro League and APAC North. So they're not in a position that they're really used to, right? And you've got a roster that it's their first split together. The only one that was on Fnatic previously was Yuka F. You've got Colonel Garcia and Reliable Ace that are still pretty new to high level competitive Apex. So how do they respond in a pressure situation, right? Do we see the Fnatic that has won match days and has looked really good and has fragged out lobbies? Or do we see that team that has placed in the bottom 3 of match days? It really is going to come down to, I think, if they can get off to a good start, they kind of get themselves settled in, they win some fights early. I feel like they'll definitely coast to being pretty comfortable with where they'll finish. But if they struggle that first game or two, what is their response? Can a guy like UKF carry them and get them comfortable to where they need to be? Because right now you got UKF has 74 kills in the split, and then Colonel Garcia has 46, and Libel Ace has 33, which is not really what you expected with this roster. You kind of expected a little bit more evened out amongst them just because of their ability to fight, especially Libel Ace. So it's going to be very interesting to see if they even get off to a slow start in regional finals. Can they bounce back? Because again, you got 2 guys that are a little bit newer to this level of Apex, and especially the Fnatic name. So it's going to be very interesting to see there. The only other note, again, Crazy Raccoon, we'll definitely see how they do. Reject is another team that we've seen win a match day. Do they find a way to pop off and catapult themselves into the top 8? That'll be another interesting thing to see. And there's the last little nugget that I'll mention is Riddle Order misses out on regional finals, which again, you're talking about Meltstera, Saku, Taida. I mentioned their names a couple times in the past couple regional recaps, afraid that they might miss regional finals, and unfortunately they do end up missing out by 5 points. So it'll definitely be very unfortunate to see them miss out. That's definitely a roster that is a fun one to watch when they're on all their on top of their game. So that's one less team some of these teams have to worry about that we expected to be there. But yeah, it's going to be another slugfest for those last couple spots because again, you got 78 points, 77, 77, 73, 66. I mean, it's all right there for a lot of these teams.
Let's move into the final region here. This is APAC South. And we go into Saturday, and it's a name that we're very familiar with. It is VK Gaming at the top once again. I mean, they are really just dominant. I also love their new logo, by the way. Like, I like that they did the lighter colors. Doesn't really matter. VK Gaming at the top. We got El Kadzia in second place. I'm not even going to try to say that team name in third. And then Lonely Let Gone in fourth. Don, let's run through and talk about Saturday in APAC South.
Yeah, VK Gaming, once again, showing the team that they have been now this past year. Again, a lot of people had probably mentioned before, like, can they be consistent? And they've definitely proven it this split. I think this definitely is their chance at EWC to really stake a claim as the best team in APAC South right now. And, especially if they end up making another finals, that'll be their 4th LAN tournament that they make finals. QQ has been insane this split. He had 21 kills in this match day, which again in 6 games is kind of nuts. He has 87 kills in the 6 match days overall. So the guy's been absolutely frying. VK Gaming as a whole has been frying. Has definitely been a fun team to watch. And again, they can do it by getting kills. They can do it by playing zone. They just are very much a complete team and one to definitely watch out for. Alcatia,
they have their day.
From left field, man. They finally are the team that we saw at the Open and that we've seen from these guys in the past. Just a huge day I just think for their mental, because again, I think that's a team that we all know they can be good, but it's just, let's try to obviously peak at the right time. And they absolutely did that this weekend. Obviously they get the second place. in this block. They did a great job. Really did a great job of playing a lot of good zones. Didn't really have
Yeah.
to frag out too crazy this weekend, but just did a really good job. Second place the first game, third the second game. They win the third game, third the fourth game. I mean, I think they only had one game, looks like, that they finished outside the top 10. But I mean, they had four, top fours. So, I mean, that's pretty damn impressive to say the least. Shout out to Panda, who's the analyst, a guy I talked to quite a bit. He was definitely hoping they'd figure their shit out. And definitely looks like they did. So, big kudos to them.
Yeah, and then in fifth place we have Gen G Esports, which was formerly Green Stego, and as we move into Sunday, Green Stego, now Gen G Esports, they win the day. They get first place on the day on Sunday. Waibu Gaming in second, Seoul Esports, and Alcadzia once again follows it up with a fourth place. I would like to say too, Lonely Let Gone near the top in both of those days as well.
Yeah, definitely. It was definitely a very interesting day. Gen G, I mean, again, kind of just showed their ability. Again, I think right now it's really Gen G, VK Gaming, and kind of everyone else right now. SA and Alcatia definitely are still up there too. But Gen G and VK Gaming have definitely been the most consistent through the Pro League. And they definitely just show again today, picking up another match day win. I believe that ended up catapulting them to first overall in the Pro League. So definitely big shout out to them. And I mean, you just look at even some of those numbers that they put up across the Pro League. Their plus minus and damage is 30,000. So they've damaged out more, like 30,000 more than what they took in. I mean, that's just an insane stat to me. They had 109,000 damage in 40, and what is that? That'd be 36 games of Apex. I mean, that's pretty damn insane to say the least. I don't care what region you're in. So they're definitely feel good about themselves. Weibo Gaming obviously pops up. They're a team that we've been waiting to see if they could figure it out. Unfortunately, just was not enough to jump themselves in. It's actually really unfortunate because if they would have won the match day, they would have got 20th and made the regional final. And they missed out literally by 1 point at the end. So definitely huge kudos to them for trying to bounce back and get into the top 20. But really, this day outside of Weibo Gaming was really just about the big guns. You had Gen G obviously in first, S8, Alcatia, Lonely Like Gone, like you mentioned. Lonely Like Gone, somehow through all the controversy, has figured out a way to put together a couple decent match days at the end. Getting the fourth, like we mentioned on Saturday, fifth here on Sunday. It's going to be very interesting to see if they can kind of figure their way, especially since they've had all the drama and things like that. So if they can get consistent and figure out, how exactly they can play, who their full third will be moving forward, they can be a team, I think, that'll kind of regain the form that we saw at the beginning of the Pro League.
Let's round it out here with the overall standings. If we go into Gen G Esports, VK Gaming, and Seoul Esports, they're all kind of in a league of their own. This is very reminiscent of EMEA. We've got 123 points, 122, and then 101. Following that, it's a quick drop off to 88, and that's JD Gaming, followed by Rival Esports, Lonely Let Gone, Alcadzia, and Wolves Esports. Those are your top 8, but they're going to have to keep playing well everybody outside of the top 3 because it is very close. Once again, these point totals are not separated by a whole lot. Now, Alcadzia and Lonely Let Gone jumped up 7 spots each going into this final, this regional final. So that's big for them. And for Alcadzia, they really don't have to worry about anything because they're basically already qualified. So Don, it just basically means that there are only 4 spots remaining, right? Because Alcadzia is already locked in. And then the first 3, I mean, they're leaps and bounds above some of these other teams here.
Yeah, and if you actually even throw in JD Gaming too, they are mathematically, according to Oversight, qualified as well.
Ooh.
So you only have 3 spots left for the other 17 or for the other. God, that's not 17. That's great math. What is that? 15? Whatever the number is.
Whatever the number is.
Yeah, but you only have so many spots left, and you've got so many teams that are so tight knit. Like you mentioned, you got Lonely Like Gone at 75, Rival Esports at 75. You got Wolves at 73. 71 is 9th place. They got 69 10th place, 67, 67. It is so close for these last couple spots. And one place, again, with the elevated points is definitely going to make a huge difference for these guys, no matter where they place. And it's definitely going to be very interesting to see. And again, one thing to keep an eye on too is that if Alcatia were to fall out of the top 8, it's then only the top 7 in points that will move on.
Mhm.
So that's going to be another thing of where they end up finishing. A lot of teams might be hoping they finish higher. Some teams might be hoping they don't finish higher. So it's going to be very interesting to see how they decide to play the day. Do they kind of experiment with some things? Do they try to jump themselves up a little bit more? There is money on the line for where they finish in pro league, so that's always something to keep in mind. And also the champs points as well. We really haven't mentioned that too much, but where you finish in these pro leagues give you champs points moving forward. So it's going to be very interesting how some of these teams that are already qualified decide to play it out, because you're not only thinking about midseason playoffs, your form now, you're thinking about just making your path to champs that much easier moving forward. So we are in for a crazy weekend to say the least, and I will probably somehow be watching all of it yet again. So
Yep. Let's hope we get some 14 game bangers. Let's hope we get some quick ones as well too. Let's just hope we have a good time this weekend. Regional finals, ladies and gents. We're gonna send it on down to the heart to heart and send you guys into the week. Let's get it. All right, ladies and gents, that was Panic. Shout out to TSM Panic for hopping on the show, and I'm actively thinking about when you guys said I say the name over and over and over again of the interview after and before, and now I'm trying not to say his name again.
Be
He
yourself,
is the
Wyatt.
player from TSM, the opposite of Calm. Yeah. TSM Panic. Shout out him.
I just want to thank Panic. Thanks for coming on, Panic. We appreciate you, Panic.
Panic.
Shout out Panic.
From TSM.
Panic from TSM. The team, formerly, he used to be Orchid Panic. Now he's TSM Panic. Shout him out. Ladies and gents.
Not to be confused with the South American Panic.
Not that guy.
This is a Panic Apex.
Or Korean Synap. You spell that backwards. That's also Panic. Korean Synap. Don't mix him up with him.
That's a cool little fun fact,
Korean,
just like
right?
the dolphin fun fact. What was that reaction time?
60 milliseconds, right?
60,
How
less
did
than
you
60
remember
milliseconds.
that?
Well, how would you forget that?
Yeah.
I mean, do you not care about dolphin facts? Do you hate
See,
dolphins?
That's the thing is, I think that I said in the interview that I would be cool if like you could just play zone and learn facts. I think I'd forget them all by the end of the game. So hopefully he doesn't. Hopefully he just becomes a really good fact knower. A ball knower of facts.
Is you said more about Panic in this when you tried not to, funny enough. Like...
Yeah, I just abandoned it halfway through. I can't change my stripes. This is who I am. I said ladies and gents also like 16 times already.
There's nothing wrong with it.
That
is the brand. If you move away from
that just shows how much we respect women. That we lead with them, even though there's probably like six of them who watch the show.
We calculated that it was like 400 views from women across the entire channel.
Across the entire history of our show.
It could be one woman watched 400 times.
Yeah.
It could be 400 women. It could be 20 that watched 20 times.
And it also very much could be a dude watching it on his girlfriend's account.
That could be it too.
Or that might be more plausible.
We always make sure we say ladies and gents.
Yeah, she was logged in. They broke up. She never logged him out. He's using her account. It could be one of those.
We had Liz, who's from the Valorant scene in chat tonight. So
Liz is in chat.
A woman right here.
Liz was the one that
Liz was here. Yeah, she already asked me to ask you guys if we can land a plane with no experience whatsoever, and I do feel like we can.
1000%.
Like absolutely.
Yeah,
I already saw that happen on Twitter the other day. It was a small plane, but like
and I'm gonna be honest,
all planes
it
are the
doesn't
same.
look that hard.
If a random guy can land a small plane on a highway with no experience, I can land a 747.
Mm-hmm. It's just a little bit bigger, is all. You know.
Look, Tempo said it's easy. It's easy to land a plane.
Yeah, there we go. Heart to heart time, boys.
Heart to heart time.
Last time I said, Jumbo, you're not going first. This week you are going first.
Yeah, that's crazy. I can't believe you robbed me of that last week.
Guess
what? I came prepared. Today, I guess technically not for me anymore, but it was my 3-year anniversary of posting the TSM video, which is pretty cool. That 3 years ago I posted that video and the journey that it's taken me on now, meeting everyone. I say this all the time. It's a gratitude post here, but that is fucking crazy that like a video randomly I posted that I was like, this is crazy that no one's talked about this before. And now I've met each of those dudes. Actually, I've never met reps. That's crazy. I still have not met reps, but I've met two of those dudes. Actually, I've met Verhulst and Evans. So I've met 4 of the 5 guys that video's about and then gone on so far. Like, I never thought I'd be here. And so it's pretty cool. I'm excited. And yeah, mine's going to be simple. Gratitude. Grateful for the journey that we've been on.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. We love to hear it. Shout out to that video. Go check it out. Also, check out Jumba's brand new video on the Jumba
Wyatt
YouTube
hasn't even
account.
watched the video.
I really have not watched a lot of either of your guys' videos, and I apologize. I need to do that. I had it. I was staring at it on my phone. I was like, I was on my lunch break at work. I was like, I could watch this right now. And then I think I watched a compilation of every Man City goal from 2024 this season. We're in the season of 2025. Like, so I was watching not this season's goals. And I ate chicken. So that was that. Donnie, your heart to heart this week.
Yeah. I mean, one quick thing was cool. Hit Twitch affiliate. So shout out to that. Thank you for mainly Thank you mainly to GMB boys and their fans for coming in during the deathmatch rival stuff. But for my actual heart to heart, I definitely think perspective was my big thing this weekend. For those who haven't seen, unfortunately, the Omid experience definitely did not end as well as we would have hoped. Unfortunately, did not make regionals, and the boys did fall out of Pro League. And after talking with the boys, went ahead and split ways, and we'll be just looking for other opportunities, doing stuff with the podcast and all that. And I think I just realized with that experience, I've kind of figured out what I know I could bring to a team, what I am capable of just as, an analyst or a coach or whatever the role ends up being. And I'm excited for the opportunity if it happens again in the future with a different team. But I just definitely think I gained a lot more confidence in my abilities. And like I said, just got a lot more perspective on just what I know I can do personally, because I know confidence has been a big thing I have tried to work on. So, yeah, that's my big thing, just perspective. And yeah, just really excited for everything else moving forward.
Edie, you got yours?
I'm a combined Jumba and Don's, and it's gonna be the perspective on having gratitude.
Wow.
Wow.
Honestly, well played.
And so, like, high key, like, I've definitely had like a decent amount of just like days with like good old dude, Apex Legends ranked, especially with just the Devo, Ash, Ballistic, Alter meta is it wears on a man, but overall, like, and so like it can get a decently frustrating, right? Especially when you're doing that for like 10 hours a day very consistently. But like, regardless of like the frustrations that I get the opportunity to deal with and work through on a day-to-day basis, I'm just incredibly grateful that I still am in a position where I just get to wake up and hop on and play video games and do my best to have a positive impact on people when I'm not losing my shit and tweaking out over Apex Legends ranked. And so I'm just grateful. The fact that I've been doing this, like, I graduated college in 2020 and it's 2025 now. And like, I'm able to provide for my family, and I have a wife and son, and I play video games as like the sole provider for my family, and that my wife gets to be like a stay-at-home mom and get to raise my son, I just think is a very beautiful thing and something that I'm incredibly proud of. And I'm just grateful. And the fact that I get to do cool shit like this and hop on and just talk about Apex Legends with some people that I enjoy being around and that I can call my friends is pretty cool.
Yeah. No, it is great. It is. It's one of the best. It is the best thing that we've got going right now. This was actually a great show too. We had some fun tonight, boys.
Yeah,
we had some real good fun tonight.
It was definitely a funny one.
My heart's art this week. Last week's episode, I let one moment just absolutely chalk me so bad.
Dude.
I let it
You're not
fuck
real.
me up.
Can we
You're
tell?
not
Because you
real.
cut it out of
Yeah.
the video. Can we tell?
I-
do
Wait,
you
you
want me
cut
to?
it
Do you
out of
want
the
me to say
video?
it?
Dude, I couldn't
He cut
do
it.
it.
He
I
cut
couldn't
it.
do
You're such
He
a
cut-
coward.
I
he
know.
couldn't
I
do
knew
it.
it was
Such a
coming. I
coward.
knew it was coming. I knew
You're
it was
such
coming.
a coward.
Bro, I watched it and I just like, oh my fuck.
It wasn't even bad.
It wasn't
Okay,
bad.
so
Okay,
last
let's tell
week-
it. Let's tell the story.
Last week when we were interviewing Waltzy, I had wrote down in my notes Falcons struggle from something. And in my head, I
Japan.
just forgot.
Germany.
Yeah,
Germany to
Germany.
Japan, was that it?
I had forgotten that Waltzy was not on Falcons at that tournament. And I asked a question basically saying, like, you guys started off struggling. You had a really bad tournament getting 20th. And I see Jumba in the corner of my eye just going,
Yeah, I think I
Yeah.
made it worse because like I was I was like,
and then
like viciously
I see
shaking my
Waltzy
head.
make this face. He kind of just goes like he's like looking at me
And
like he
he
was like,
leans in and he goes, "I've never got 20th, bro."
yeah. And it ruined me. I watched it back and I was like, oh my God. And after the episode
he was just shooting
over,
the shit with that comment though. He didn't give a damn.
I know.
No, dude, Waltzy could not have given less of
I
a
know.
fuck.
And this is
And
my
in
heart to heart.
Wyatt's world, it was the worst moment of this man's
Yeah.
career. And
We had like a
the
9-person
Discord messages
intervention.
that I had read to me. Shameful.
We had a
from
9-person
this man,
intervention
Wyatt Babb.
after trying to boost Wyatt's morale.
Yeah, after the interview was over, I put a bunch of just sad memes inside the Discord with people trying to hype me up. And then when I watched it back, it was like I couldn't let it go. I was like, I just couldn't let it go. So my heart to heart this week is trying to have more fun with the moments that I mess up on, because in my head, I'm like, oh, you got to be perfect. You got to do this. You got to do that. And I think in that moment, if I would have just laughed it off and been like, oh shit, I totally fucked that up, it would have been fine. But in the moment, I'm trying so hard to be serious and like, I know everything. And like, I never make mistakes. And it made it way worse. If I would have just owned up to the fact that I was just like, oh shit, I completely messed that up, it wouldn't there wouldn't have been a thing. And after the interview was over, I immediately was like, Waltzy, I'm so sorry, I forgot that. And he was like, bro, I don't care. Like he just legitimately did not care. We ended up hanging out in the room for another, I don't know, like
10
15 minutes or
yeah.
something like that, just talking, and he was super appreciative for us having us on, like us having him
Yeah,
on and
Look,
talking
I
about
understand
it.
where the
But
pressure comes from when you consider all like we take it very serious, especially when we're talking about whether Hal would piss or shit himself to win a LAN. And when
Yeah.
you got things like that are so serious in those moments when you make a mistake,
Mhm.
everything just feels like it crumbles. Don't you agree?
Yeah, I mean, I literally asked Hal about like the Latinas for Hal sign, and I'm like, yeah, I'm so serious, dude. Like, I need to be fucking super serious. But yeah, it like messed me up, and it was like usually I try to take my preparation right, and in my head I'm just thinking like all the comments are gonna be like, this guy doesn't prepare, this guy doesn't do anything, and that bothers me. But I need to just understand that some people are gonna think that anyway. And also that I know how much work I put in while also maintaining a lot of other things that I have to do. So yeah, it ruined me, and I'm mad at myself how badly it pissed me off. But in the moment, if I would have just laughed it off and just had a good time, it would have been fine. But
And you
we're
could have
working
kept it
on
in the video, you
Yeah.
coward.
I know I should have. After I was done, I was like, when Enoch finds out it's not in the video, he's gonna roast my ass, which is deserved. It's deserved. So, mine is just growing from your mistakes and not letting them kind of control your entire outlook on yourself, because it literally changed. Like I was in my head being like, this is who I am now. This one mistake I made on one episode. Yeah, we're working on. I'm a work in progress. We're figuring it out. But that was my heart to heart this week. It was crazy because I literally sat there looking at it, and I was like, I should just let it go. Like I should just put it out there. Whatever. I should just put it out there. And then I was like, no, I can't fucking do it. I went back, chopped it up, did all that, and I was like, he's gonna roast my shit. Deservedly so. But that's my heart to heart. And ladies and gents, that is the show for this week of the Apex the podcast. Don't forget, we got the regional final coming up, and it is going to be a big one. It is going to be awesome. Super excited. And then right after that, EWC, baby. We're going to have ourselves a ball getting ready for EWC. It's going to be a great time. So, ladies and gents, thank you guys for tuning in. As always, we will catch you guys next week for another episode of the Apex the podcast. See ya.